Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the qualifying watch-along for the Turkish Grand Prix. I've just been so desperate to say that all week. Yes, we are in Turkey. The Turkish Grand Prix is back. Istanbul Park, and my word, is it back with a vengeance. Have you been watching practice? Wow. Absolute chaos. It is slippier than an ice rink out there. It's raining as we speak as well. FP3 this afternoon was just an insane mess, as we'll have a look at in a moment. Even in the dry, it was so slippery out there, and it's really thrown up possibly the most unpredictable session we've had all season. Max Verstappen's been pretty much dominating the weekend so far for what it's worth at the moment with so little running. Mercedes appear to be absolutely nowhere, although they probably lock out the front row. Now I've said that, but it's just been so good and so enjoyable to see these drivers out there wrestling the cars and having to work for every single lap. It's been brilliant. But let's have a look at that FP3 result. Then we'll do some shout outs and then we'll do a little bit of chat before we get into qualifying, which starts in about 60 minutes time. Max Verstappen was fastest this morning on 1:48.485 on the intermediate tyre, but as you can see on that right-hand column there, not many laps at all. 14 was the most by any driver, and that was Vettel down in 6th place. Charles Leclerc in 2nd, nearly a second off Verstappen. Alex Albon in 3rd, 1.5 seconds off his teammate. Esteban Ocon 4th, nearly 5.5 seconds off Verstappen's time. These mean nothing. These mean absolutely nothing. Norris in 5th, Vettel in 6th place, 7th for Perez, 8th for Bottas, 7.1 seconds off Verstappen's pace. Early 2022 there, you see. It could happen, you never know. Kevin Magnussen in 9th and Lance Stroll in 10th place. Daniel Ricciardo 11th on the wet tyre, nearly 10 seconds off the fastest time. Carlos Sainz 12th. Antonio Giovinazzi in 13th. Gasly 14th, Grosjean 15th, Raikkonen 16th, Kvyat 17th, Russell 18th, Latifi 19th, and Lewis Hamilton in 20th place. Russell, Latifi, and Hamilton did not set a time this morning. Read into those times what you will. I would say nothing at all, although Max Verstappen, like I say, has led every session so far this weekend, so maybe he has got a very good shot at pole position. Like I say, though, whenever I say that, it tends to be the case that Mercedes then go and lock out the front row, so yeah. There you go. We shall see. Good afternoon. And who have we got in chat today? Now you've all caught up. Let's see who we've got. I've seen Max. Yeah, Max is here. One of the mods. Good afternoon, Max, mate. I've seen Ian as well. Ian Francis. It looks like I didn't have to approve your message, mate, so you might be sorted. Might finally be able to talk to you this afternoon. Good afternoon to Oliver, to Danny Doorman, to Paid Ninja, to Tyrone, to John, to Sunita, to Patrick, to Rama, to... who else we got? Solid Snakes in there. Daniel Philpotts here with his second account. Okay, again, Ian, it's great. I don't have to prove that one either. So it looks like it's working. Galip as well. Hey to Jay Paul. I wonder who he's rooting for this afternoon. Could it be Alex Albon? Maybe, just maybe. I already said hey to Max. Hey to Lucas as well. To Louis and to 328 and to Falco as well. Very good to see you all this afternoon. Usual disclaimer at the start of these streams. This is live timing, chat, and... I suppose you could say commentary. It's more updates from the session. It will end up as a BTEC Crofty by about 5 to 1 or something like that. Just we've got 5 minutes after the session, but no footage for obvious copyright reasons. Safety car on track, which concerns me instantly. Are we looking at a delay to the session? We'll keep an eye on that one. Yeah, no footage for obvious copyright reasons. Please do just subscribe if you are new, and don't forget to drop a like on the stream as well. Massively appreciated. And apologies if my voice goes. Get your tiny violins out. Still suffering with this cold that I'm hoping is a cold, but it's been lasting a little bit long to be a cold, if you know what I mean. But I'm okay. I'm alive. That's the most important thing. So hope we're all ready for this. Like I say, massively unpredictable. No idea what's going to happen. But it's something to keep an eye on in qualifying, actually, if it starts on time. We've got a weird situation. I was going through some stuff before we went live, and it's taking about 6 laps, or it was doing in practice, to get these tyres up to temperature to do a hot lap. So we're not going to see a situation that we're used to where the drivers go out and do an out lap and then do a flying lap and then come straight back into pits. It's highly likely there's a dog on the track. It's not highly likely. There is a dog on the track, but it is highly likely that what we're going to see is maybe 4, 5 laps, then a hot lap, maybe a cool down lap, and then another flying lap before an in lap. So there's going to be loads of track action this afternoon when we get going. But the safety car is out there. I assume actually for the dog, possibly. I mean, it's 2020. Whatever. you see things like that. I mean, the resurfacing at Turkey. And I said this to somebody on Twitter earlier, that there's a lot of people saying, why have they resurfaced it? What's going on? This was a mistake. I think they were caught between a rock and a hard place, because from what I understand and from what I've been reading, the track itself was really dated. It was bumpy. It really desperately needed a resurface. But what they've done is they've stuck this new surface down, and it's thrown up a whole other array of problems. So they were kind of damned if they did and damned if they didn't. But quite frankly, I'm glad they did, because we've got a completely unpredictable session, and it's chaos out there. And I know there's some people that might be concerned about safety with Formula One. Obviously, wet track, slippery surface can result in a big accident. Of course they can. We have to bear that in mind. However, these cars ain't going that fast. They weren't this morning. I mean, they were so slow at times. I want to find an onboard at some point. I'll have a look after the session and see what the average speed was for a lap, but it was not quick. So they should be okay, but you never know in the wet. So keep an eye on that. Hopefully everybody okay, obviously, but it's still exciting for us as fans to get a bit of unpredictability. I can't wait. I love this track. I am a little bit gutted, by the way. It's great to see the cars being wrestled. It's great to see the drivers having to work. But there is a little bit of me that thinks at the same time I'd quite like to see these cars flat out through turn 8. I mean, I said in the preview that these lap times that we had from back in 2011 will be beaten. Doesn't look like they're going to be this weekend, unbelievably, because they're just not able to get any grip. They're not even able to get sort of extract the maximum from their car. So I'm kind of gutted we're not going to get to see flat out racing today through, or driving today through turn 8. Hopefully tomorrow, but even in practice yesterday, as the track rubbered up, it was just, they just had nothing through these corners, and it was just so weird to see that. It was Portimao. If you haven't been watching it, think about the first laps of Portimao when Carlos Sainz took the lead. That's kind of where we're at. Has Max accidentally hidden somebody? Have you unhidden him, Max? Because he didn't say anything. Sorry, if you're not watching chat. We've just had a moment where one of our mods has gone a little bit insane. I say gone. He's pretty much insane anyway, and blocked somebody. And I don't think he meant to, so he's fixed it. It's okay. Never mind. Anyway, so yeah, kind of like those first opening laps of Portimao. We all said that wouldn't it be great if we had that for a race? We might just get that this weekend. So yeah, away from the track though, couple of things well worth a mention. Interlagos is staying. Or at least that's according to the governor of Sao Paulo. I believe it's Sao Paulo. A deal, according to him at least, has been signed until the end of 2025, which is fantastic. But it's going to be called the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Not the Brazilian Grand Prix. Apparently there's still a conflict there, a political conflict between the government and the people of Sao Paulo, or the governor of Sao Paulo. So we are getting into Lagos by the sounds of it. Yet to be confirmed by F1, it must be said. So we have to bear in mind that maybe just because the governor of Sao Paulo says something's been agreed doesn't mean it has been agreed, but we're just waiting for that to be confirmed from Formula One, hopefully in the next week or so. It was on the calendar of Sao Paulo, wasn't it? So you would assume that the deal was, if not completely done, it was pretty much done. So we shall see. It just needs to be signed off, but I'm very excited to see Interlagos stay. And I think it looks, therefore, the track in Rio, to many people's delight or relief, is that Rio isn't going to happen. Sorry, voice going again there, which is good news. Environmental concerns around that track, completely understandable. And we don't want to see chunks of forest being ripped up for racetracks when there's a perfectly serviceable racetrack that maybe just needs a little bit of money spent on it to bring it up to spec in its facilities. Do that. Interlagos is fantastic. The dog is still on track. The dog could be the fastest anything we see around that track today. It could well be. All jokes aside, we've seen what can happen with dogs on track before. Was that Bruno Senna? Ugh. Yeah, not pretty. So, and extremely dangerous for everybody. So hopefully they can stop that dog running on track. There's been a few actually, haven't there, this weekend? So, yeah, I don't know. It could be the fastest thing, but the clouds are definitely still in the air. Trying to look at the puddles as Lewis Hamilton walks towards the paddock. There looks to be a few spots of rain falling. It's been drizzling all day, some really heavy rain towards the end of the session. The safety car having a lovely drift through there. Bert Mylander, when he gets out there, has a wonderful time in that car. I bet he loves it, really. Oh yeah, I'll just do another lap, make sure the track's okay. Why not? See what happens. Wow. Yes, so it is quite wet, but I think somebody just mentioned it in chat, actually. I'm going to go and find the comment. Infinite TK says, I swear people forgot about Styria qualifying with worse conditions. Absolutely. This is nowhere near rain-wise as bad as Styria, is it? The problem is, so you're absolutely right, Infinite, but the problem is that the track underneath this, the tarmac underneath this, is also as slippery as it would be if it had been raining on a dry track, if that makes sense. So even on a dry track, they're slipping around all over the place like it's been chucking it down all afternoon. So you've kind of got the rain that isn't that bad on top of a circuit which has no grip, despite road cars running around all night. Like I say, 2020 things. Road cars running around all night to lay down rubber. They've got no grip out there at all. So I think if you combine the two, it probably is getting on for being as treacherous as Styria. But let's crack on. I have a feeling we might get a delay. I don't know why. I'm hoping not. Let's get them out for Q1, and then if it's halfway through, it's a bit of a disaster and nobody can get any grip, then maybe pull the red flag out for 10 minutes or so. But the problem is, as we've seen it so many times in Formula One, we saw it in Styria, didn't we? Delay the session, that's fine. But if you've got rain on the radar, you're possibly missing your best window to get the session in anyway. So get them out, see how it is. If it's not something the drivers are happy with, they'll come in the pits, they can red flag it and go from there. But let's see how we go. It looks like the drivers are getting ready, so we are only 6 minutes away, so I'd be surprised if it's delayed now. And I'll put my headphones on and listen to who we got. Simon Lazenby. I thought we had Ted, but never mind. We'll keep an eye on what's going on. But we're about to get the music to start the session, get it underway. We'll go along to the Watchalong screen in just a minute. There's a couple of questions, actually. just before we get there. In fact, no, we'll do predictions. Pop your top three in the chat. I've just got one other thing to tell you before we get into this session regarding George Russell, who will be starting from the back of the grid regardless of where he qualifies today because of a power unit change, his fourth of the season. So he's got grid drops and will start from the back, which is going to be gutting anyway, but doubly gutting, given that today could be a day for him to have snuck into Q3. So I can imagine he's a little bit gutted, like a little bit disappointed, but it happens. It's the first. Is it the first engine penalty? I'm trying to think if that's the first engine penalty of the season for anybody. I know we've got most drivers, or a lot of drivers are on the cusp of a penalty, but I think that could be one of, if not the first of the season. I've got in my head that Kimi Räikkönen had one, but I don't know if he just had a really bad couple of weekends, to be fair. Let's have a look at your predictions there. Music started. We'll go to the watch on screen in just a moment. Carb says Verstappen, Leclerc, Bottas. I think you could be onto something there. I really do. I think Leclerc's got a shot at the front row today. And if there's a Ferrari on pole, any Ferrari, I think we'll all go mad, even in these conditions. Dan says Verstappen, Albon and Raikkonen. Be good to see Albon on the front row as well. Be great to see Kimi up there. Be good to see Albon on the front row. Actually, I tell you what, Dan. Raikkonen top three after what he did in Portimao on that first lap. Was it Portimao or the Nürburgring? Possibly Portimao. Could be either. But either way, slippery track, cold tyres, brilliant. He could be leading by about turn 3, so that'd be brilliant. John's gone with Dog, Mylander, and then Grosjean. I think the dog will be on pole. Grosjean for Daniel Philpott, obviously. Warren M, good afternoon, mate, says Leclerc, Sainz, and Ocon. Andrew's gone with the top 3 prediction of Verstappen, Albon, and Leclerc. It's Kimi. I've lost that one. Kimi, Grosjean and Max for Paid Ninja. Sniper's gone with Verstappen, Hamilton and Bottas. Aviation's gone with Max, Alex and Bottas. Step J has gone with Hamilton, Bottas and Leclerc. Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc for Forza Ferrari. Malone has gone with Verstappen, Hamilton and Leclerc. Spongo, cool name, says Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas. KL74 says Button, Grosjean and Perez. Yes, very clever. That's going back a bit. That's a meme, isn't it? Commander Benkai, Max, Leclerc and Albon. Who else we got? Grosjean, Raikkonen and Giovinazzi is the full prediction from Dan Philpott. Vian's gone with Leclerc, Sainz, Albon. 2 more super quickly and then we'll go over to the screen. Stroll for pole. Is it my ear says Stroll for pole? Is that because it rhymes? Because it should be, because that's brilliant. Super quickly, one more. So Solid Snake says Verstappen, Hamilton and Leclerc. Oh, well ready for this one. Just to let you know, tyre compounds available. They're on screen now if you're watching on the TV. C1, 2 and 3, they are the hardest in the range. 0.9 tenths between the soft and the medium, and then 1.7 seconds slower is the hard to the soft. So yeah, we're not going to see the hards. We're not going to see any dry tyres in this session. We're certainly not going to see the hards again this weekend because they were horrific yesterday. They were horrific. So yeah, we'll see. There is rain forecast for tomorrow. Risk of rain for this session is 90%, which annoys me because it is raining. So surely that's 100%. Whatevs. That's the official risk of rain is 90%, despite the fact it is indeed raining. Let's... I'm on a right waffle today. I can't help it. I love sitting here talking nonsense to you lot. It's so easy to do. But let's try and get all 20 on here this week. There we go. So they are your 20 drivers. Live timing, once again, provided by Cranky Yankee F1. Thank you very much for that one, mates. Appreciate it as always. Go check out his channel. I'm sure you have. If you haven't, you should be. Welcome to the 100k club as well, mate. Good to have another one there joining. I think Josh Ravel's done it. Has Tomo done it as well, so congratulations to him too. Great to see some more channels hitting that 100k, especially in F1, because there was never that many, was there? And now all of a sudden we're all doing it. It's not even an achievement anymore. I'm joking, but yeah, congratulations to those guys. No footage again for obvious copyright reasons, and don't forget to follow, like, subscribe and all of that business. Ready for qualifying. Yeah, that was all terrible. Went brilliantly, didn't it? Annette says, I'm afraid I must say it, it's been raining cats and dogs. We've not ever seen cats yet. It's just been raining dogs. Just been raining dogs. Yeah, please do hit like. It is still raining. I say it every week, but the streams don't tend to do too well with likes. I know that not everybody likes to have them on their like playlist, but if you don't mind, then please do drop a like. Always appreciated. Helps the channel out and all of that beeswax. But yeah, so ready for this. Come on. Max Verstappen's in his car. There'll be a timer on screen as well once we obviously get the session underway. I'll probably wait a few seconds to make sure it's actually working, get that one set up, ready to go. How do we feel if Lewis Hamilton gets pole today, by the way? Because I know people sort of say, oh, well, it's boring, he's always winning and always getting pole, but he's not done an awful lot of running this weekend at all. And I feel like if he were to pull this out the bag, it'd be something pretty special, to be honest. I fancy Max Verstappen, though, is my prediction for pole. We'll see how that all goes. But the session is underway. We are green in Turkey for the first time since 2011. 18 minutes for the first session, of course. As many laps as they can do on those tyres. Apparently the timer isn't working because I pressed the wrong one like an absolute moron. Bear with me a second. There we go. Press the right button and things will work. It's amazing. It depends if it stays wet, I guess, is what the ginger cheese says. It is very green in Turkey, indeed, Warren. As I say Hungary there. Maybe I'm hungry. Bit of turkey, you know. On board with Hamilton. So let's stay on board with somebody and just see how slippery it is. Because in practice this morning, if you didn't see it, the drivers couldn't even plant the throttle in a straight line. It was pretty terrible. Verstappen and Albon on the intermediates, according to Crofty. Have a look at the old... intermediates for Verstappen, Albon, Norris, Perez, Sainz, and Grosjean. Unlikely, by the way, to need to worry too much about who's doing what in Q2 because they'll probably be on the wets and inters at that point anyway, so they'll be able to start on the dries because it's a change in climatic conditions. Max Verstappen really deep in there. Couldn't get the car slowed down through what looks like turn 10. It was indeed. Oh, and he's round. Verstappen spun already in a straight line. This is how wet it is out there and how slippery the tarmac is. And that's the intermediate. So he might want to come straight in and pop some wets on it. It looks a little bit too slippery for intermediates. And that's a McLaren steaming around the outside, possibly on inters as well. Verstappen complaining, obviously, of no grip on the team radio. Like I said, there's no grip anyway on that tarmac, so throw in the rain, and it's going to be a real challenge for these drivers this afternoon. But again, that's what we want to see. We want to see a challenge. We want to see him fight, and we don't... It's great, yes, seeing him flat out through corners like turn 8, but we want to see him actually having to fight for something for a change. He's just lost it as he's come back on track after he's run wide, so... yeah, but, sliding all over the place. Was it? I'm sure Sainz is on the intermediates, and he just seemed to breeze past him there. So no, yeah. Do they have unlimited access to wets and inters? Are they allowed a couple of sets? Says Carb. I think is it 3 or 4 of the inters and 3 of the wets is all they've got for the whole weekend. So, but I think Pirelli have said they gave them not Pirelli. Verstappen wide again. Really struggling out there. No grip at all. He says he's got no grip compared to the McLaren. 3 of each, says the Ginger. It's something like that, isn't it? But I seem to recall yesterday afternoon, I can have a quick look actually, that the race director allowed an extra set of the inters. Just because of the weekend conditions. So, yeah. Yeah, Martin Brundle actually made a great point there about the conditions that, he sort of got away with the autumnal conditions in the Nürburgring and at Imola without any rain, but we've been caught out in Turkey, which is, I'd say, is a fair point. It is. You've got to remember, it is November. We're racing in Turkey in November. It is partially in Europe and it's a debate I don't want to have. It's partially in Europe and partially in Asia, so that covers my back. But yeah, it's technically in Europe at the moment because half of Istanbul. Of course, it's quite a fascinating system. I was reading up on it before this, how you could be. I think Red Bull did it across the bridge in a video, which I might share at some point, where they could, go across this bridge. One side you're in Europe, the next you're in Asia. It's quite cool. So yeah, we had a yellow flag out there briefly. I assume somebody's just had a spin. The green flag has come back out again, though. I wonder if this might. I mean, as has been pointed out again in chat, I think it was Infinite again who said that the conditions were worse in Styria, but because there's no grip on the tarmac anyway, it's an absolute nightmare. So unless the drivers really have a bit of a strop about it. I don't see any red flag. Of course, unless somebody has an accident, which we hope they do not. 2:07.947 is the current fastest time. Lando Norris. Perez goes fastest, 2:07.6. We've got Hamilton and Bottas. Look, this is Bottas right behind an AlphaTauri. Inter apparently looking best, according to McLaren. Over the line goes Bottas to go fastest on a 2:07.001 on the wet. So obviously Inters are not looking best. Hamilton goes fourth on a 2:07.7. It's going to be one of those weekends or one of those sessions where this is going to come down to last across the line. We've got Albon here right behind a Haas. Kvyat goes sixth, 2:09.0. Raining turn 5, according to Bottas's team radio. There might be a red flag because Alex Albon is staying in the tracks. You normally see him trying to get past each other, but he's following the Haas and staying in the tracks of it to give himself the best chance. It's absolutely crazy out there, but just watching him fight the steering wheel through some of these corners, and yeah. And that's a Haas straight on, but he's going to get going again. Comes back on track. Is it Magnussen or Grosjean? It's Rogro. Just so twitchy. You've got drivers turning right into left-handers, left into right-handers, and doing both on the straights. This one, and there goes Albon really wide there. I'd say it was quite amusing in practice, actually. It was people going straight on at turn 1 and their lap times of like 3 minutes and 40 being deleted. Like, oh. Oh, please don't leave that time on the board. They might be on pole with that. Yellow flags out there again. Right, they've gone again. Verstappen says he can't take his hands off the wheel. Good. Keep wrestling it, boy. You'll get there. If it's raining again, it looks like it's coming down heavier at parts of the track here. Oh, Albon nearly going there. If you're just tuning in, it's just going to be an hour of me going, oh, this is so close. I turn into a proper little F1 fanboy when I watch stuff like this. Ocon goes fastest, 2:06.1. I think... And there goes Bottas, 2:04. So he's gone quickest, 2 seconds quicker than Ocon. So a better lap from Bottas. Hamilton improves to 4th. Track limits are being enforced here. A couple of times being deleted. Nothing really to write home about. Albon through the final corner. He's been really good so far this weekend, so it'd be great to see him deliver a good lap. What's he going to do? A couple of massive slides over the line. It's only 13th. We're going to lose some big names here, potentially. The Grosjean, Gasly, Russell, Magnussen, Latifi, your bottom lot. There's a lot of spray out there, and I do think it's starting to rain a bit harder, so we might see a red flag. We've got Stroll's time, I think, has been deleted. Or it's not showing up on the board. He's P3 at the minute. It's just not showing up. It's showing up on this board, but not there it is. It's just updated on the TV feed. See how long this yellow flag's out for, and hopefully we'll be able to see what's going on. I assume somebody's had a spin or a slide. Seb Vettel we're on board with now. I think, is that his teammate ahead of him? Charles Leclerc looks to be. And they're both in the pits. I think I'm going to agree with a couple in chat. I think this might red flag for a little while. The problem is the rain's going to keep coming down. I don't want to fill. What we're going to talk about? We'll talk about... We've done cheese. We tend to do cheese in testing, don't we, in pot noodles. I'm sure we can come up with something. We might be red for a while. If it does go red, it'll be red for a while. There's no doubt. But I wonder if they're trying to get this session done and maybe delay Q2. Problem there is you're not giving everyone a fair shot, are you? But conditions are the same for everybody. Probably Nicholas. It would be silly season. For what's left of it. Yeah, possibly. Hamilton saying it's raining a crazy amount right now. It definitely looks to be. Ted Kravitz saying there he doesn't. I'm sure he just said that there's no sign of a red flag. But these are. I'm gonna be Martin Brundle. I'm gonna do it. These are the best drivers in the world. What we call them. It's the pinnacle of motorsport. They need to wrestle, but at the same time, that was about as northern as I'm going to go with a but. But we don't want anything crazy. I said this to somebody on Twitter, you know, that the latter stages of FP3, it was too wet, and that needed to be stopped, and that's why everyone came in the pits. But the first half, and even indeed the first few minutes of this session, for me, were absolutely fine. Get out there, wrestle the cars. That's what you're paid to do. You're the best in the world. Let's see you really be challenged and fight for this, as it looks like I've had an AlphaTauri have a spin out the final corner. Daniel Kvyat, but at the same time, it's borderline. I mean, if they're in a straight line like that, Kvyat can't even put his foot down. He's sliding in a straight line. You know, that's the difference. Yeah, that's it, Nicholas. I mean, not just Bianchi. We've seen it many times in Formula One. There's a line, and I think if we're not on it, we're heading over it with the rain still coming down at the moment. So first half of FP3 was fine. First few minutes of this session, yep, get out there and challenge, but we don't want it to be too wet. And if they can't keep it, yeah, that's too wet. Where are they? Is that on the run through turn 8, or is that turn 5? Ocon fastest at the minute, by the way. Turn 9. So the run between 8 and 9 is just too wet. Far too wet. So I think this might end up as a red flag. In fact, I'm going to prepare for it. Watch this. Gazzy, has he had a spin as well? We saw Kvyat in the final corner just recovering. There he goes, does Gazzles. Not quite a spin. There you go, red flag as expected. So I've got 6:51 left. That is the red flag if you're just tuning in. It's not surprising. Not surprising. That's too wet. We know that's too wet. 6:56 is what we actually had left. Try and get that to the right time. There you go. So 6:56 remaining. I didn't get it to the right time, so I'm just going to let it count down a little bit. I'm multitasking on stream. No great surprise about this. Like I say, first part of the session, absolutely fine as far as I'm concerned. But what happened afterwards was just not, was it, really? Far too wet. But now it's the case, as Martin Brundle just said, is now we're going to have to fill for a while. So get your questions in chat. We could be here for a little while. Possibly there'll be no qualifying until tomorrow morning if things don't clear up. But we've said that before. And then 5 minutes later, it's all been fine. So, yes, red flag if you're just tuning in. Not here in Turkey, I'm in Lincoln. But there you go. There you go. Ben Roberts says that's fair. I agree. Like I say, for the 4th time, just in case anyone's missed it. First couple of minutes of the session, first few minutes of the session, I think you were okay, or they were okay. It was a challenge. First half FP3 was absolutely fine. They just had to fight. They had to put the effort in and not have everything handed to them. They had to work for it, is the point I'm making. It wasn't all about the car. The driver was making the difference, but that was too wet. That's over the line. The second half, or the last 15 minutes of FP3, that was over the line as well of safety. So right decision there. It's particularly sort of from turn 8 to turn 9, and then after that chicane as well, it's really wet. And the fact that drivers, even at half throttle, can't keep the car in a straight line. First of all, it's not safe. Secondly, there's just no point. There's no point in carrying on a session if nobody can move. So there you go. But at the moment, if the session were to end now, Leclerc, Grosjean, Gasly, Russell and Latifi would be out. It won't, of course. But also, worth noting, if we can't get any more running this afternoon and they can't get quality in the morning, Max Verstappen's on pole from Charles Leclerc and Alex Albon, because they'll take the times from the last completed practice session, which was FP3. Crazy. Look at the radar there, what we've got. So, 15-12. That's we are right under a load of rain. It looks like the rain's not going anywhere anytime soon. Yes, Chris. Welcome, mate, this afternoon. Yeah, red flag out for the rain. We're going to see, I suppose. Again, Martin Brundle's making a point now about being caught out. We have been lucky with the autumnal weather that other races haven't been hit by this. This reminds me of Styria. Got to waffle for a bit, but what's bloody new? That's all I do. What if they take FP3 times Hamilton's at the back? That's from Dave the Fish. Indeed, he is. And I think we've got some pretty. Let me find the FP3 result. Actually, in fact, I think your grid would be Verstappen, Leclerc, Albon, Ocon, Norris, Vettel, Perez, Bottas, Magnussen, Stroll, Ricciardo, Sainz, Giovinazzi, Gasly, Grosjean, Raikkonen, Kvyat, Russell, Latifi, Hamilton. So hell of a race if that happens tomorrow. But of course, there's no support series this weekend, so they can quite easily, provided the weather's okay, complete qualifying in the morning. They might even still get it sorted this afternoon. It all depends on what the weather's going to do. And on that note, shall I have a look at what the old Met Office is saying, as reliable as they are. So, light rain and sunshine between now and 5 p.m, and then it's going to rain until about 7 p.m. At which point, I assume we're into darkness, and that's not going to happen. So, I would, based on the forecast, we may not get any more running today, but I said this about Styria and fully expected it to be fully called off, and somehow we got it. And it's not. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong in chat, but looking at that puddle, it's not absolutely torrential rain. It's just it's raining heavily enough, but it's not like Malaysia styles. What is it Murray Walker said? It doesn't come down in the bucket full; it comes down by the ocean full. Bless him. But actually, I'll change my mind on that. It's chucking it down. It's not monsoon. It's not torrential, but it's heavy. What are we thinking? So usual protocol would be there'll be a track inspection. So this is Latifi, around at turn 8, just on the entry to turn 8. And then we've got a Mercedes off as well, just in front of him. So that's why watching that, looking at Norris just drifting through there with the left rear as we look at it, right rear on his car, just, I want to say throbbing. It's a horrible word, but that's what it is. The movement in there. Verstappen's spin as well. Far too wet. So right decision. But yeah, so we'll get a track inspection, and then we'll get session delay, all that business, or we'll get session won't be restarted until, and then of course you've got the 10-minute warning. So even if we get, this is what frustrates me about Formula One, is even if you get a 10-minute window, where they say, right, we're going to go racing in 10 minutes, we're going to go get qualifying started in 10 minutes, the rain could start in 9. And then they're in a mess again. So I kind of don't like this whole 10-minute warning thing. But at the same time, you've got to give them 10 minutes because the drivers have got to get in the car and have got to hook them up. It's no good going, we're starting now, and then they take 6 minutes to get the drivers in the car and then that's it. So, yeah. At least to Andreas Seidel. Andreas Seidel, interestingly enough, is saying he thinks that this, as it is now, would form the grid, but I thought it was the last completed session, and Q1 hasn't been completed, and Formula One certainly has. Formula One qualifying certainly hasn't. So I thought the rule was the last completed session. So I might be wrong. I mean, Andreas Seidel knows more than I do. Let's be honest. But I mean, most people know more than I do. I'm just a gobby fan, as I often say. But yeah. I thought it would have been FP3, but if that's the grid, Ocon, Bottas, Stroll, Hamilton, Perez, Norris, Magnussen, Albon, Kvyat, Raikkonen as a top 10. With Leclerc and Verstappen 16th and 15th, Vettel 13th, wouldn't be a bad race at all, would it? But if we're picking a grid, I wouldn't mind FP3 grid. There you go. Sebastian says the track was already an ice skating ring when it was dry. Having qualification while it's raining is far too dangerous. Agree. Especially in that rain, definitely. They resurfaced the track, but doesn't look like the drainage got done, says Warren M. It looked wet, didn't it? A massive puddles on the outside, a lot of standing water. So that's a good point, actually, on drainage, because like I say, this morning it was drizzling, but the water wasn't really going anywhere. So that's a very good point. Daniel Philpott not happy with my choice of words. Apologies, mate, on that one. So, yes. They'll probably do qualifying on Sunday morning, 3 hours before the race as anonymous. They generally do, don't they? Give a few hours just in case there's any accidents or anything to get the car sorted. And Astro wants to know, can we give your thoughts on possible driver moves? Perez to Red Bull, Albon to AlphaTauri, and Kvyat to Haas. We'll come back to that, mate. If I don't come back to that in a few minutes, post it again and just remind me. But I'm just going to have a listen and make sure we're not missing anything going on. But we'll keep an eye on notifications. I'm going to have my moan. I want to have a moan. It always happens on these streams and on... well, most videos, quite frankly. But Sky split screen. If you've got Sky Sports F1, I have no problem. I said it on Twitter this morning. No problem at all with a split screen. If you've got like the world feed on the left and then an onboard of Vettel or Hamilton or somebody on the right. So we've got two cars and we're looking at them sort of squirming through corners or looking at their lap or whatever. I don't need to look at Andreas Seidel's face, especially given that half of it these days is covered with a mask. It makes it even more irrelevant. So I just ditch the split screen or just put it there for something like a lap, so you can pairing laps or something. You don't need to do it with Andreas Seidel's face, as lovely as I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's fantastic. George Aiken-Hill says, but he's a beautiful man. I'm sure he is a beautiful man. But I want to see cars. If I wanted to watch Andreas Seidel, I'd go to McLaren and get some B-roll and watch him. That sounded creepier than it needed to, really. But, yeah. Albon's still in his car. So that could be a sign that maybe they're not expecting this to go on for too long, but it is still raining. Track looks soaked. The weekend forecast on screen, perfect. So rain all morning on Saturday and rain all afternoon, apparently, and then it disappeared. Thanks for that, FOM. Appreciate that. Did I say Aitken, George? Sorry. I've got a friend called whose surname is Atkin. A couple of friends actually whose names are Atkin, and I often say Aitken by accident, so apologies, George. I'll just call you George. You'll know who you are then. Apologies for that. Our car... F1 cars are more stable at high speeds because of the downforce, so when they go slowly, they're very unstable and hard to control. That was in reply to somebody else, I've just noticed. But that's a good point, yeah. I don't know, really, what's going to happen now. I think we're going to, yeah, sit here and wait. There's a little bit of blue sky rolling in, according to Simon Lazenby there. The track looks pretty drenched. Weather for tomorrow, if you're interested, is dry all morning, but there is a 40% chance of showers between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. local time tomorrow. Race gets underway in the UK at 10 past 10, so 3 hours after that is 1:10. So that could impact sort of halfway through the race. That's interesting. That's an interesting one. We could see some rain tomorrow. We could. Or we might not. We might not. I will also say, because people often point out in the comments when I say in previews that there's a 30% chance of rain or 20% chance of rain. There's a 40% chance on Sunday, but that also means there's a 60% chance it's going to be dry. So, yeah. And generally when we're expecting rain, it's dry. Look at the circuit from the helicopter camera. Fair bit of standing water. So we're on board. We're going to do an on-board with Bottas, apparently. So let's see how bad this is. So struggling on the full wets through 1 and 2. Sliding all over the place. Even sort of on the what would normally be completely flat out. Tight through 4. Yeah, turning right through a left-hander. And I'm assuming he's going to go left through a right-hander. Yep, on the exit. Look at that, sliding all over. And then we're going to come to... I can't get over how it just makes me wince every time they do it. We're coming up to turn 7 now, on board with him. See what he does through here. It is absolutely dreadful. 3 cars ahead of him. Obviously, they're not on track at the moment. This is a replay just to confirm that. Again, steering left to a right-hander. 2 cars in front of him practically sideways. Just no grip at all. There's not even a dry line. But the problem is, like we said, Nega's a Williams. That's Latifi. And it was Bottas that was just in front of Latifi after he'd gone. Or was it? Yeah, it was Latifi. I'm sure it was. And then through 8. Oh, absolutely. It was this run between 8 and 9 that got really, really, really wet towards the end of the session. So, and then 10 and 11. Oh, sorry, 9 and 10, not 10 and 11. You've got to get through 9 before you get to 10 and 11. See him flat through here usually. Massive lift. Can't see his speed on there. 7th gear. Deep into that chicane, that final chicane, which often, by the way, gives us some great side-by-side stuff in the racing. Or it used to. Doesn't mean it will with these copper cars, but it used to. He's going to come through the final couple of corners, just sliding all over the place, having to fight the car. It's great to see the drivers having to wrestle these. but it got too wet in the end. And then obviously with the resurface as well, kind of absolute nightmare. Safety car is on track. So we'll see now. What? Oh, he can't even keep it. He's sliding all over the place. Looking from the bonnet of the safety car. So, yeah. Johnny Herbert agreeing that it is the right call. I know there'll be people that will... The thing is, never listen, especially Twitter. Never listen to Twitter. Because... you can tell instantly when somebody doesn't believe what they actually say, and they're just doing it to get a reaction. So there'll be people out there going, "Oh, they should be out there. These are the best drivers." Da 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 da. In these conditions, no. What we had prior to this, like I say, and at the start of FP3 was fine for me, but this is too wet. And then you throw that wet track in with the fact there's no grip anyway. It's just a recipe for disaster. So, and there's no point. There's no point running qualifying if nobody can get a lap done because we're just basically watching a clock tick down. So, yeah. Ian Francis says, I wonder how long it is going to be. Karun Chandler says it hasn't rained for about 5 minutes. So, we might be another 5 or 10 minutes and then maybe get going. But the last thing we want is to have to wait 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, and then it chucks it down 25 minutes into that wait. So, yeah. And Johnny Herbert just making the point now that it should take the water off because it's cambered. So maybe that won't be an issue with draining. Maybe. We'll see. Let's answer some questions then. Ben Roberts says, time for race reaction tomorrow. Assuming there's no red flags or anything, it should be, I think, around about 1 p.m. UK time. So... usually about an hour after the race finishes, maybe an hour and a half. I've got Dan with me. I need to double check with Dan, actually, that he's still up for tomorrow. So, yeah, so that should be about 1 p.m. UK time, lunchtime. All being well. Flameboy Tom YouTube says, who is your favourite driver? Michael Schumacher's my hero. On the grid right now, as a personality... See, I like Seb. He's a year younger than me, but he's like an old man. And I like that. He just likes to get on with his life. So he relates to me in that way that he just wants to kind of get on with his life, do what he does, and then go home and watch some Harry Enfield, apparently, according to Ted Kravitz. That's what he's watching at the moment. So, yeah, I quite like Seb. I like most of the drivers. I don't think there's a driver I particularly dislike, to be honest. I'm going to think. No? No, there's been drivers before that I've absolutely loathed, but that was when Schumacher was racing, and so anybody that went up against Schumacher was pure evil. Yeah, there you go. But I just relate to Seb. Just like, whatever. Get on with my life, not bothered. Watch some terrible TV, sitcoms, and chill. After I've done my job. That's kind of how I feel with it. But yeah. I'd love to see F1 send the old cricket Super Soper out there. Or Super Sopper. You've lost me, Warren. I'm just trying to think about what that one might be. I'm sure you'll explain. Or I've read it wrong completely. Dan Philpott says, I dislike Grosjean. Only to banter Dan. I think Grosjean's ace. He's had his moments on track, but I think he's genuinely a lovely guy. And I don't think there's, again, aside from his little moments on track, I don't think there's a bad bone in the guy's body, quite frankly. He makes me chuckle. Sorry. Just keeping an eye on the safety car while I'm keeping an eye on your comments. Dave the Fish says, I thought you hated Bottas. That's what the comments have always said, that I hate Bottas. Do you know, I'm not quite sure how anybody can dislike Valtteri Bottas. He's one of those drivers. So you've got like Bottas, for example, is one of them. George Russell, at the minute, we never know what he's going to turn into in F1. Even Nicholas Latifi, I don't get how people can dislike a Valtteri Bottas, for example. He's just inoffensive. he's like Mika Hakkinen. I didn't like the fact that he went up against Michael Schumacher and he beat him to those titles. in 98 and 99, obviously as a Schumacher fan, but Mika Hakkinen was cool, you know, and that's how Bottas is. He's just so chill. In fact, a lot of Finnish drivers, even Kimi as well, can't really dislike him. They're just so relaxed and they just don't care, and they say what they think and then they go off and race, and that's that. So he's a good egg. He's a good egg, is Valtteri. Sean, what software do you use to create these in real time? The streams or the timing. For the streams, I use OBS. Predominantly, the microphones run through Voicemeeter, so it doesn't get quite so tinny. I use Snaz for all the live timers. And then the live timing itself is provided by Cranky Yankee. So if you're wanting to know about the ins and outs of the coding behind the timing, that's definitely something to have a word with him about, because I haven't got a clue about that kind of thing. But yes. Astro wanted us to do some silly season stuff on the latest driver rumours, which we could do if you're up for that one. At the moment, it looks pretty much as though it's going to be Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin at Haas. That looks nailed on at the moment, so we shall see. Things can change. Some blue sky there starting to come above the track, which is good. Looks like it might get going soonish. But yeah, I think that's pretty much nailed on, to be honest. So fully expecting to see those two at Haas. Yuki Tsunoda, I think that's nailed on for AlphaTauri, you know. I can't... The only way that might change is if Red Bull do decide to drop Alex Albon but want to keep him in F1, and maybe they have Gasly and Tsunoda at AlphaTauri for a year, and then if Gasly moves on in a year's time, then put Tsunoda alongside Albon. But I think you're looking at Tsunoda and Gasly at the moment there. I don't think that's changing. Williams are already nailed on, as we know. Red Bull, I've always had the feeling, and I know we keep talking about how maybe Red Bull have made the decision. They're now saying it could be the end of the season, but I had the feeling when I did my driver lineup predictions that they would stick with him. I don't know what that feeling is or how I can justify that. I've just always had that gut feeling that they're going to keep him for another year and just give him that chance, because they've kind of gotten... Because these cars are staying the same, I can't see anybody getting sort of to beat Mercedes in the constructors, even if you had two really good drivers. I don't think Red Bull would do it either. So I wonder if they kind of think there's nothing to lose next year. But I just think, and it's an argument we can have another day, I'm sure, but it doesn't matter who you put in that second car. They're always going to be slower than Verstappen, because that team, that car, it's all built and designed around Max Verstappen, which is fine. That's what you do when you've got someone of Max Verstappen's talent on your books. You're going to do that. But I do feel, so if you put Gasly there, he's not going to do much better, if any better at all, than Albon is. If you put Kvyat there, I don't think he would either. But I think if you put Perez there, although he wouldn't get close to Verstappen, he would be closer. So I think if you're going on performance, I'd probably say Perez would be my pick for that seat. The problem is, if you're Helmut Marko and Christian Horner, do you want somebody like Perez in that car alongside your star man, your Max Verstappen? Because we know, as much as we love him and as much as we know how talented he is, we know that Perez can get a bit hot-headed with teammates, so you don't really want to be risking that, which is why I think, and Hülkenberg has a good relationship with Verstappen, so that's why I think if they were to drop Albon, they'd probably go with Hülkenberg over Perez, but I would put Perez in that car if I dropped Albon. But I still think give Albon to the end of the season, and I still think they will. Just don't make a decision. Perez isn't going to sign anywhere because there's nowhere to go. Hülkenberg isn't going to sign for anybody because there's nowhere to go. They don't need to rush this. They can give him the final 4 races of the season and then go, do you know, he showed enough, let's give him another season. Or say, no, we're going to drop you. But they also go into 2021 with the knowledge that if Alex Albon does not perform, there's Perez and Hülkenberg out there as a free agent anyway. So if we get into, say we get to the European season, so we get to after whatever the 4th race is going to be, if Albon is still struggling and he's not delivering, they could drop him then and bring Perez or Hülkenberg in for Spain, for example. So they have got lots of options available to them, and those options are not going to go away for 2021 or in 2021. So just my gut at the minute says that it'll be Albon for the start of next year at least. And he is He's a driver that I am properly rooting for. I will criticise him when he doesn't perform, as Jay will know in chat, because he hates it when I do that. But I will criticise him when he doesn't perform. I will criticise any driver who doesn't perform, even though I'm not a racing driver, and I probably, you might say, have no right to do that. But I will say, if a driver's not performing, I will say what I've got to say. But when they are performing, I will also praise them. But drivers like Alex Albon, I said about Bottas after his back end of 2018 when he seemed to struggle. I want him to come out and prove us all wrong. I want Albon to come out and deliver, and he's been delivering this weekend so far. So hopefully this is a catalyst for him. But we'll see. I don't know. It's so, you just can't read Helmut Marko. You just can't. See what you guys are saying. I think that's all the seats. I mean, Hamilton will sign for Mercedes. I still think there's a part of him considering retirement, but it's from what has been said this weekend, it sounds as though it's coming down to things like image rights and what he wants to do away from the track. So he wants to stay at Mercedes. I mean, look, every driver that gets to Lewis Hamilton's age, he's a year older than me, that gets to that age at 35 years old, they're going to consider retirement after they've achieved so much. But I feel like the draw of an 8th world title will be too much. I really do. We got going on in chat. See what you're saying about the driver market. I'd love to see Perez beat Verstappen, says Rayan. That second Red Bull seat really does seem cursed even more than Hogwarts defense teacher, says Astro. Yeah, it's true. Start of every Harry Potter film, and it's like, oh, he's going to be the professor for the dark arts or something like that, and you just sort of go, yeah, he's the bad guy. A 5-minute warning will be given for the resumption of the session, so we're sort of waiting now for that 5-minute warning. Bit of filler if you're just tuning in. Welcome, first of all. We've got a red flag in Turkey because it's a bit too wet on a track that's already slippery when dry. 6 minutes 56 left on the clock, as you can see there. So we're just waiting now for the safety car to do some laps and decide when it's safe for the cars to go out. I think most of us are in agreement it was the right decision based on the level of standing water right as they pulled the red flag out. So I'm sure there'll be plenty that disagree, but most of us seem to be saying it's the right call. We've got a lorry out there. A sweeper lorry trying to clear some water. There's a lot of water out there, to be fair, but he's brushing it. It's going to look like it. Yeah. Got a sweeper truck out there. We'll see. Hamilton will race a few more years at least, see if he can get 10 titles maybe. Well, the rumour is that he's either signed or a 3-year contract has been put to him. I just hear everyone that doesn't like Lewis Hamilton going, oh no, not 3 more years. He could come away with 10 titles quite easily. I think that we can safely say that if he stays at least 1 more year, he's going to get over 100 wins. So quite an achievement. Crazy numbers when you think. I know I've got a lot more races now, but it's all crazy numbers. What channel do you watch your F1 on? Sean, that's from Gamer McLife. Sky F1, Sky Sports F1 on a Sky Q mini box. I'm really going into detail here. On a Sky Q mini box on a 40-inch TV in my office in a chair with a cold cup of tea. Lovely. But yes, Sky for my sins. I can't wait for F1 TV. I think they've got Alex Jakes over there commentating, haven't they, on F1 TV? So I'm looking forward to that maybe being available in the UK one day. I suspect it won't be because it sounds like Sky are trying to do a deal, or at least discussing the idea of F1 TV being put on the Sky Q box as an app, which means they're probably going to get a new exclusive deal. Just looking at the calendar on Sky at the moment. If you missed that, there is a video on the channel that next to no one's watched. Went out on Tuesday just going over the new calendar. If you fancy watching that, please do go give it a watch and drop a like and say hi in the comments, just, so I know that somebody's watched it. Australia will kick the season off on March 21st, and we've got Bahrain a week later. We've got a gap on April 25th that was Vietnam. That's been dropped if you missed the news. Talk that's between Portimao, Imola, and I think No, it wasn't the Nürburgring. Was it Mugello? But there is talk of... Oh, no, Turkey. It was Turkey or Portimao or Imola are the favourites to fill that spot. And then it's Spain, Monaco, Azerbaijan and Canada back-to-back again, which makes no sense to me. Go to Canada, do Monaco, have a week off. Go to Canada, have a week off. Do Azerbaijan and France back-to-back, have a week off. Do Austria and Britain back-to-back, then have a week off. Do Hungary and then have the summer break. I know Azerbaijan to France is still a trek, but it's less of a trek than Azerbaijan to Canada. Anyway, that's my moan on that one. And then it's the second half of the season is absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. They've taken it off screen, so I'm going to have a quick look. For those that have missed the calendar. I think I put it in here. Did indeed. Then we've got Belgium after the summer break on the 29th of August, followed by the Netherlands and Italy back-to-back-to-back. So that's a triple header. We then get a week off, and then we get another triple header. Russia, Singapore and Japan. Then it's a week off. USA and Mexico back-to-back. Sao Paulo in Brazil on November 14th. And then a back-to-back finale. One in Saudi Arabia and one in Abu Dhabi. I mean, that's a thrilling end to a season. 5 minutes, I think, till quali is resuming. I've missed a notification on TV, but I've just had a message. So we should be going in about 5 minutes' time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to double check. Oh, no, it's not a message to say that. No word of a 5-minute warning just yet, apparently. Couple in chat saying it as well, actually. So I'll keep an eye out on Twitter. But what I'll do just before we do go green again is I'll have to run off and have a moment. As far as I can see, no warning just yet. So do you think Saudi Arabia will be any good? Asked Ben Roberts. The street track, no, I'm not expecting it to be honest. Street tracks generally aren't great, are they? For the most part, but they're building a new one, and they want Herman Tilke to build, quote, an exciting track. I mean, to be fair to Herman Tilke, he did design Sepang, Turkey, or Istanbul rather, Bud International Circuit as well. So he does do good circuits. Just we seem to get the CAC ones as well. So, but I saw it on Twitter. And I can't even give credit because I can't remember who it was, but the problem with F1 is that they sign deals with countries for tracks that aren't even built yet, so they don't even know if a track's going to be any good. So it's like, oh, for God's sake. Interlagos will be on the calendar, Rayan. It's not going anywhere, mate. Apparently, they've signed a 5-year deal, so it'll be the Sao Paulo Grand Prix rather than the Brazilian Grand Prix, but that will be end of next year, third from last. But I think Jonty said it, that actually, funnily enough, because of the way, with the season being so long and the way that F1 seems to go at the minute, because it's the third from last race, it could end up being the title decider. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Title deciders in Brazil are generally pretty mental. Is that Glock and all that business. So, yeah. Turkey's a great circuit, hard to beat. It's a Tilke circuit, says Warren. Agree. But it is a good track. But I like the Bud one. Bud International Circuit in India. Shame that we're not there. There's some good corners there. I enjoyed that. Kamal's favourite driver is Sergio Perez. When is quali starting? Asked Mr. Motivator. We're just waiting for a 5-minute warning from the FIA at the moment, or from race control, mate. The red flagged the session because of rain. So we're just waiting for confirmation when that will be. We'll get a 5-minute warning, they've said. So we'll see how we go. I will say, actually, Crofty said it hasn't been a 5-minute warning just yet, or implied that there. But just if you watch the testing streams in February, or back in February, you'll remember, or you might remember, that we raised, or we got some money together, some very generous contributions from a lot of people to help me get a proper mic set up, an XLR mic. And I said at the time that I was going to wait until the Easter sales and see if there was anything that came up in there and save a bit of money, maybe get some other bits as well. The world then went to hell. And everything sold out everywhere and I couldn't get them, so I've kept that money in a savings account so that I don't spend it. But luckily the equipment that I needed has come back in stock. So yesterday my Go XLR arrived, and at the end of the month my microphone will be arriving. So 9 months after you guys so kindly got that total together for me to get this new mic, I've finally got it on order. There you go. So great news. So I'll get that set up probably in the off season, ready for next year. But yeah, very good stuff. So thank you for that. But that's just an update. As I always promise I'll give you an update when something happens, but it is sorted now, finally. I'm getting the I think the Shure SM7B. Nice person. It's kind of the go-to mic, and audio is like pretty, because I don't show my face very often at all. Audio is kind of the most important thing, so that's what I'm going with. But yeah. Esteban Ocon, we're going to watch Esteban Ocon on board. Outcry says the Shure SM7B is pretty classic. Yeah. When I've just done so much research and watching videos on it and reading about it and listening to people's comparisons, and it just always seems to sound the best. And then you watch any sort of top Twitch streamers and YouTube, and you always just see this Shure SM7B sat there, and you think, well, maybe it is pretty good. So I kind of wish in Lincoln, I don't know if we do, if anyone's in Lincoln, let me know, but I kind of wish there was like a shop somewhere in Lincoln where I could just go and be like, obviously post-COVID, and just test them out so I know. But yeah. Face cam is coming now. For the couple asking in chat, I'm hoping by the start of next season, but I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet. I don't want to be like completely face cam, but kind of like if I do some sort of newsy video, which is going to change next year, but if I do some sort of newsy video, maybe me interspersed between pictures and graphics and things, rather than just pictures and then graphics, sort of mixing it up a bit. So we'll see. I'm not rushing. I'm English. Hey, I'm not. Dad joke. Oh, for God's sake. Come on, get this session going before the dad jokes come out. But yeah, that is the plan. That is the plan. There's a lot of stuff coming next year that's going to change. I know some of you will go, oh, again, but it really is this time. A lot of stuff coming, a lot more narrative content. Think, why is Lewis Hamilton so hated? The curious case of Nico Hulkenberg, the two sides of Sebastian Vettel, that kind of thing, starting next year. I'm just in debate at the moment as to whether I'm going to continue to grind this season out as I am, or make the changes now, or just wait for a fresh start in 21. But I'll make that decision. This Ocon, like, in a straight line, foot down, can't put his foot down, just spins everything up. Wow, 206.1 is his fastest lap. So for comparison, for if you'd really like to, and I can confidently predict we'll be getting nowhere near this today, but not last year's pole time, 2011's pole time was Sebastian Vettel, who did a 1:25.049. Fastest time today is a 2:06.1. So we're close. We're really close. As the safety car goes out again. Do what Stuart does, keep the pictures and stuff, but sometimes pop up. That's kind of the thing I mean, Dave. That sort of thing. Yeah. Obviously anything like a channel update, or perhaps even like now, it would be kind of cool to have a face cam so I can pull faces at you all while we're waiting for we're waiting for the session to get going. But yeah. You've nailed it, Dave. I could have just said that, to be fair, couldn't I? Drying the pit box down at Red Bull. They've got a nice little dry spot there. Maybe we can just have a race going on there. Look in the pit lane. Why not? Is it Prada Verde by Tilka Grade 2 Philippines? That's from Johan. Don't know if true, but if true, don't know if it's finished. I've not heard anything about it. I can head to the old Google, see how we get on. So what have we got? So Pradera Verde. Look for circuit. They've begun construction on one. Let's see if it's got anything to do with F1. Nothing on F1. A few discussions in things like Reddit, but they are building something out there, so that'd be cool if that does happen. I think Philippines. My geography's terrible, but Philippines wouldn't be a bad place to go. Sort of start of the season when you've got Australia, China, etc. You're all going to go Philippines in there, you idiot. But yeah, that kind of area in the world that would kind of make more sense, I think. So yeah. Yeah, we're seeing pictures of Damon Hill on from Twitter on Sky at the moment. For some reason, still waiting for a 5-minute warning. We've covered, what have we covered so far? So we've done a mini channel update. We've talked about microphones. Outcry also says, have you got a studio microphone boom arm for that mic or just a desk stand? I've got the Rode whatever it is boom arm, but I've also got the attachment needed for the Shure SM7B that goes into the top of it so that I can have it hanging down and I can twist it and turn it and all that. So I'm prepared. I'm well prepared, and I've got the Go XLR sat behind me in a box. Lovely Amazon delivery driver, by the way. I know we have to be careful, but you can still be polite. Turned up, put it, sort of knocked on the door really hard. I went to the door and I opened it, and he was other side of the radio. It's on the floor. I was like, oh, thanks. Have a good day, mate. Christ, on the floor. Thanks. Oh, 5-minute warning. There you go. We are going again in 5 minutes. Session starts at 15:55 local time, so that is 5 minutes from now. I did a dance. This is why I need a face cam. We are going to get some racing drivers back in their cars, and I am going to disappear now for 2 minutes. So it's all going to go very quiet. I'm going to leave. Who are we leaving in charge in the chat? I probably ought to leave a mod in charge. We'll leave a mod. We'll leave Max in charge, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Right then. I didn't want to shout then. I was going, ah! But I didn't. I did wash my hands, if anybody asks, because there's always one. We're just about to get going, finally. 6:56 on the clock. This should be good. This could be good. I assume we're all heading out on intermediates. I can't imagine anybody's going to be heading out on the old dry tyres. That would be absolutely insane. We're getting going in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So if you are tuning back in, welcome back. A couple dropping in there. Please do. As I always say, drop a like. What are we on? 194. Let's get over 200 at least today. I know it's going to be a longer stream than we like to do. Or, well, I don't know. You might love me being live all day. I don't know. But there you go. Please do drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Live timing by Cranky Yankee F1. And no race footage for obvious copyright law reasons. There you go. But I'm back. We have got cars at the end of the pit lane, ladies and gents. We're ready to go. Hopefully, no more rain. Hopefully, no more rain. Very good point from Martin Brundle there. Can they actually go fast? That's the big question now. They might be absolutely cruising around, not being able to do anything. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars at the end of the pit lane, including 2 Red Bulls, 2 Ferraris, and an Alfa Romeo. Near to Tauri, Alfa Romeo. Cars heading down there now. A few more. This is going to be, if we get no more rain, it's going to be last across the line for pole with the top teams. But it'll be last across the line as well in this session for getting through. Just a reminder, because it's been a while, Leclerc, Grosjean, Gasly, Russell and Latifi are in the bottom 5 at the moment and will drop out. Verstappen on the bubble. These times are going to flip-flop all over the place. It is going to be insane. So I'll try and do my best to keep you updated. We are green in Turkey. Finally. Well, how long were we out for there? Oh, a good 50 minutes almost, weren't we? So there we go. Yellow flag. We've got an Alfa Romeo instantly sliding. It's Kimi Raikkonen. He's okay, keeps it going, but instantly sliding out there, and he's going to turn in on a Ferrari, nearly hit Charles Leclerc. That's a positive start there, isn't it? Kimi Raikkonen spinning within, nothing. Got Ferrari and an Alfa Romeo squabbling for track position at the moment. Just see how many laps they're going to do here. Raikkonen off track again. Everyone coming out now, as you would expect. The car's still struggling out there. So we've had Kimi Raikkonen spin. Get a replay of that. So straight out the pits. Everyone gets going. Latifi and Vettel side by side trying to squeeze in there, Latifi. And then around the first little kink after the pit exit, Kimi in a straight line just drops it. In a straight line. The session has started, Latoya. Oh, yeah, that Kimi was coming back towards Max there. Here we go. Albon's going to be... is it Albon or is it Verstappen? It's Albon. Couldn't see in the spray there. Albon's going to be first to do a time, so we'll see. He'll be first one to get to each corner, so it could be interesting. Nicely through turn 1 and 2. Albon just... I'd like to be on board, to be fair, with Albon. You see the car twitching on the off, but we got a yellow flag again out there. Helicopter made me jump there. I thought someone was airborne. Wake up, Sean. Who's had the spin? Crofty saying he thinks it's Charles Leclerc. Albon, yeah, like I said, on the offboard you can see him twitching, so the onboard, it must be so much fun to watch. It's not fun to drive, I'd imagine. Although actually quite a few drivers, or a handful of drivers, said after the sessions yesterday that they were really enjoying it. So, yeah. Oh, that's Grosjean in the gravel. That'll be a red flag. He's beached it. That'll be a red flag again. And it is a red flag. We're red again! Why not? Why not? Thanks, Rogro. That's it. Red flag again, but we're running out of time here. Obviously, the clock stops 3:30 on the clock. So that is, as I was just going to say, Martin said it there, that's an outlap, a flying lap, and an in-lap. That's it. Red flag. Yeah, he's just lost it. He's trying to stop into turn, whatever call that was, turn 1? Yeah, turn 1. Can't stop it. And just loses the back end and into the gravel he goes. No damage. Well, he's not hit a wall, is the point. Martin Brundle asking what we're going to do if the race is like this tomorrow. Probably lose on mines. Reminiscent of Mugello, just a bit more chaotic, which is terrifying. Yeah, and it was Leclerc as well into turn 1. Same problem as Grosjean, but he got out of the gravel. Yeah. Did well there, did Leclerc, yeah. He's bounced across the gravel, and then just as he comes to the end, he lights up the rears. Oh, well done. I say lights up the rears, didn't really, did he, from that angle? So we're red again. Red flag. So if you came along, great to see you, but I assume you're off again and you'll come back in about 5 minutes. Absolute chaos. Absolute chaos. The trouble is getting these tyres up to temperature. This is the problem you've got now, is that you've got... Where is it? So we've got 3 minutes 30 to go. You've got an out lap, a flying lap, and then that's it. But the problem is you've got to get those tyres up to temperature. So everyone's got to go out and do so much tyre warming on that out lap to absolutely nail it on the flying lap and hope that they get it right first time. They're not going to have a few laps to warm these tyres up. I mean, it was taking yesterday in the dry 6, 7, 8 laps to get the tyres up to temperature. So in the wet, it's going to take even longer. And they've got to do it in 1 lap, basically. So I think squeaky bum time for Charles Leclerc down there in P16 and Pierre Gasly as well in 18th. Russell starts from the back anyway because of that engine penalty, so... good point from the Ginger Cheese, actually. Unless it dries rapidly, which is unlikely, I don't think anyone's going to improve. That's a very good point. Because a lot of those, some of those times early on were done on Inters, weren't they? So when the track was better conditions. At 3 minutes past the hour, we're going to get going. So in 2 minutes from now, 3:30 left on the clock. So we'll stick 3:20 on and I'll get the timer right then. Is it... I mean, the problem is you never know, do you? But is it even worth Ocon, Bottas, Stroll, Hamilton, Perez up there in the top 5, for example, going out again and risking sticking it in a wall? But then you don't know how the track's going to evolve. If it does clear up, or if they're sat in the pit lane and suddenly you've got everybody behind you going substantially faster, they're in trouble. So I think everyone will go out, but it's a big risk. A big risk. Yeah. What is the gap between Vettel and Verstappen? Vettel is quicker. It is about 9/10 of a second between the two of them at the moment. So, but Albon up there in 8th place. I hope Gasly can get this together. We're about to go green. 30 seconds time. We're about to get going for Q1 for the 3rd time. Today we had the first start, then we had a red flag, so we had a second start. Now we've got a 3rd start. It's going to be a good point from Ted, actually. Verstappen on the bubble in 15th. I'd forgotten to say that. So if anybody does improve, we are green. Here we go. This is going to be a tense 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Leclerc could be the key here in 16th. I think Gasly as well. You'd expect him to be out of the bottom 5. So if the track does improve, which I tend to agree with those in chat saying it won't, I don't see it. You never know. You never know. But I'd say Verstappen will be nervous. He'll want to get this lap in. Is Verstappen first? He is first in the line, in the queue. So he needs to hope that we don't get any silly spins. But if he's at the front of the queue, provided he keeps it on track, he should be okay. This is going to be a fascinating 3 minutes. It really is. We're already into 2.5 minutes. So Hamilton just going out now as well. He's probably safe in 4th. We're watching Verstappen now on his out lap. And straight on there, look, you can no grip at all. Unless it's grippier out there, I don't know, but... Do you know what? I'm glad to hear it, nice person. I'm glad that worked. It's the little things in life sometimes, isn't it? 2 minutes to go. Here goes Max Verstappen. Coming down to that final chicane. Obviously, Grosjean won't improve, as Crofty's just said there, because he's 17th and out of the session anyway. You wouldn't expect Russell or Latifi to get through, but again, you never... Oh, sliding through 12 Verstappen, back end out, drifting it beautifully. Oh, this is where these lads earn their money. It really is. What's he doing down into turn one? Okay, through one. I'm sorry, I'm just focusing on Verstappen so so intently watching this one. Gonna see, oh, sliding through there as well. Nobody spin. Oh, I just said nobody spinning. We've got a yellow flag. Verstappen 2.1 seconds up. That's purple as well. So I assume that's 2.1 seconds up on a. No, it's quicker. So the track is improving. Or Verstappen's just giving it everything he can. Yellow flag is still out there. Of course, if you're newish to F1, if we do get another red flag, that will be session over because they won't restart the session with 20 seconds to go. It was Kvyat apparently in a spin. Verstappen cutting that chicane quite nicely there. Can he keep it planted? This is where... I'm so nervous that you're just going to see somebody drop it in this last chicane when they're improving. So Verstappen really improving. He's probably going to go fastest here, provided he gets across the line. So into 12. And we'll see the back end, I would assume, step out as he tries to put the power down. Does indeed a little bit, just through there. And then through 13, will he be wide as... not too bad, actually. Nice and tidy through there from Max, to be fair, given the position. Starting to get a little bit darker out there. Power sliding through the final corner. Lovely from Verstappen. Ocon was a 206.1. Verstappen does a 157.4. Good lad. Albon goes second on a 59.4. 2 seconds off his teammate, which just shows a pretty decent lap there from Max Verstappen. Both the Red Bulls, actually. Raikkonen does a 201.2. What do we got from Vettel over the line? Goes fourth on a 203.3. I was wrong about the top five, wasn't I? It is improving out there. I think the warm tyres. Oh, the tyres are warmer than I thought. Here goes Leclerc. He goes fifth on a 204.4. They're just nicely lining up. So that's Verstappen, Albon, Raikkonen, Vettel, and Leclerc. Giovinazzi goes eighth. At the minute, we've lost Sainz, Grosjean, Gasly, Russell, Latifi. Is Ocon going to improve? No, he doesn't. He stays sixth. Russell's improving out there. What can Russell do? Russell goes 16th. We'll start from the back of the grid tomorrow, though. Sainz goes 10th. He needed that one. Ricciardo in the bottom 5 at the moment. He now goes 6th. This is a last across the line situation. Gasly improves to 6th place. Magnussen, Kvyat, Russell, Grosjean, Latifi in the bottom 5. Russell and Grosjean are out already. Magnussen stays 16th. He's out. Hamilton's struggling. They're saying in commentary, I've not been watching him, he is struggling, and he's down in 13th at the moment. Norris goes into 10th, Hamilton drops to 14th, Perez pits in P15, he's on the bubble here. Grosjean and Latifi are still... So Hamilton over the line doesn't improve, stays 14th. So it's Grosjean and Latifi then. Grosjean, yeah, we're done. It's done. Grosjean's out. Latifi then is doing personal best first sector. So that all got a bit confusing there. A little bit nervy for Lewis Hamilton there. And Latifi's in the gravel. So that's why Latifi's not improving. He did do a personal best first sector, but he's out of the session. So that's Magnussen, Kvyat, Russell, Grosjean, Latifi all out. Perez and Hamilton just scraped through. But your top 13, I guess. Then Verstappen, Albon, Raikkonen, Vettel. That timing on screen's gone wrong for some reason. Leclerc, Gasly, Ricciardo, Ocon, Bottas, Norris, Giovinazzi, Stroll, Sainz, Hamilton, Perez, Magnussen, Kvyat, and Russell, Grosjean, Latifi. The timing will update at the next session, so don't worry. That is not the top times. I'll do a refresh. It looks like it's trying to update itself now, to be fair, so we'll give it a minute. Kvyat had a spin. That's why he didn't improve in the end. That's the end of Q1. Kicks up some dirt. Good for him. Why not? Yeah, so we lost Latifi, Grosjean, Russell, Kvyat and Magnussen there. Perez just squeaking through. His time was deleted from Hamilton. Wide at turn 1. Dave just said, I just remember it's only Q1. We still have 2 more rounds of this. We do indeed. It's going to be chaos, isn't it, out there? We'll do a refresh, see if we can sort this out. It should be Verstappen and Albon at the top. There we go. That's better. Magnussen not happy there. Just saying over team radio, doesn't know how you can go quicker when there are yellow flags all the way around the circuit. But, yeah. So not happy, K-Mag. You can understand that, to be fair. Grosjean ended the session in the gravel, as did Nicholas Latifi. In fact, no, Roman, he was technically, didn't he? But he brought out the second red flag, so. Get a replay of Latifi's spin. Really twitchy out there. Really, really twitchy. What can you say, really? All lap times set under yellow flags will be investigated after the session. I thought I just heard them say that. So, essentially, any faster time that was set when we had a yellow flag out there will be looked at following this, and maybe we'll find... So, who set... So, everybody improved, didn't they, under the yellow flags in the end? So, most of the... But, I mean, for example, Verstappen we know will be okay because he was out the front of the queue, wasn't he? So, he shouldn't... he won't have gone past the yellow flag zone. Yeah. Yeah, Verstappen... I'm just trying to look at the thing now, but Verstappen should be okay. Because it wasn't... there were no yellows in any sectors he went through because he was front of the queue. Unless he caught traffic, but I don't recall... There was nothing in front of him, was there? So no, so it won't be Verstappen. Albon should be okay because he was just behind Verstappen. And then I think Raikkonen was next to cross the line, and then it was Vettel and Leclerc, because they all kind of did that in tandem, didn't they? Tandem's the wrong word. Consecutively, yeah. But I think you're looking at your Gaslys, your Ricciardos, all those who improved right at the end there might be investigated, but obviously it'll come down to mini sectors, so they might have... So you can improve in a sector that's a yellow flag. So if there's a yellow flag somewhere in sector 3, for example, you can improve your lap time, but it just depends how fast you were going between the mini sectors or in the mini sector where the yellow flag was. So again, if you're newish to F1, a track is made up for us as fans for 3 sectors. They are the 3 sectors we look at, but for Marshall's Post and all sorts like that for the race stewards, it's divided into lots of other little sectors. So that'll be what they use to judge it, and there'll be so many they can't really investigate it now because they need to get ready for Q2. It'll take them all afternoon. So what I'm basically saying is whatever the grid is at the end of this session, if we get to the end of this session, might not be the grid because there might be penalties left, right and centre. The best bit is, though, if everyone gets a penalty and gets the same penalty, they end up where they were anyway. So, yeah. It's this final corner I'm looking forward to on board with Verstappen now. This will be fun. He just power sliding through the whole thing. Oh, lovely. Out that, it's just, I could see it on the offboard down the end of the straight as he's got that slide on. I love that. We get any surprises in that, really? Surprise exits? I don't think... I mean, you could argue Kvyat. We are green, by the way, but this yellow flag's still out there, apparently. Why are we sending cars out on track while there's a tractor still recovering another car? Sorry, but... 2 words, Jules Bianchi. Do we think that's smart, FIA? I mean, he's pretty much got the car away, but, you know, the car's sat in the pit lane, delay the session by a minute. That was silly. That was really silly. I know, yes, people go, oh, stop moaning, but, I mean, they're just coming around to turn 8 now. It's treacherous out there. We've seen cars going off in a straight line, and you leave the tractor out there and recover a car when you could have left it for 2 minutes. It does still say Q1. Thank you. I'll change that now. That always makes me uneasy, for obvious reasons. Kimi Räikkönen saying the same over team radio. Why did they start the session? That was, like I said, that was silly. They could have easily just waited 2 minutes. Good afternoon, RC. Happy Diwali, mate. Hope you're having a good one. Whatever you're up to. I know we're in lockdown, but good afternoon. Enjoy some F1. There you go. Everyone on wets except for Norris and Sainz on the Inters, I believe. Just a reminder, doesn't matter what tyres are on here because it'll be a change in climatic conditions ahead of the race tomorrow, so they can start on any tyre they want, which kind of is going to take some of the strategy out of the races some ways tomorrow, I'm afraid. We're not going to have this who starts on what tyre thing, but everyone starts on the same tyre. Interesting. Q2 RC, mate. We're in Q2. It's a long... it's been a long afternoon so far. And I don't have to listen to my voice, so I feel so sorry for all of you. Norris is out. We're on board with him at the moment, so just watching him track. I mean, it's still slippery, and he's going to go wide through there, so they're still struggling, but it looks, unless it's just the angle of the onboard that's deceptive, but it looks like it is improving a little bit. So that's good. I don't think it's raining anymore, so that's a positive. I'm just watching. I like Crofty. Crofty says he's got a knot in his stomach. I'm here wincing at everything that Lando Norris does in that car. Like, good afternoon, Mixoid. Thanks for coming along, mate. Hope you're enjoying what's been a chaotic session so far. This is Norris was flat through there pretty much. Raikkonen purple in the first sector. So he's doing all right out there at the minute. Ben says still too wet for Inters. I'd agree. But if they might be thinking, just stay out there and stay on the Inters while the track dries, and they'll be nice and warm for some final runs. But I was surprised to them go out on the Inters, given everything going on. Norris fastest on a 2-minute .633. The fight for pole is going to be fascinating. 2012 from Raikkonen, so we didn't have a great middle and final sector. Giovinazzi coming to the line now. He's going to be considerably slower. 204.3. Purple final sector, though, from Gio. Lap time deleted for Norris. So he's lost that one. Gasly goes second on a 201.9. So Raikkonen fastest on a 201.2. Albon over the line, a 2-minute .0. So times aren't improving. Verstappen did a 50-something in the last session. Nice slide through there. Verstappen power sliding again over the curb. What's he going to do? Ricciardo does a 2-0. Oh, Verstappen's in a league of his own. 57.1. 3 seconds quicker than Albon and Ricciardo. Stroll goes second on a 1:57.4. Great lap from Stroll. 3 tenths off Verstappen. What can Perez do? He goes second on a 57.3. So Verstappen not in a league of his own anymore. What are Mercedes going to do? Are they really struggling? Fourth for Bottas. Over the line goes Hamilton. Where is Hamilton? Only fifth on a 59.7. Mercedes are struggling a little bit here. No running for Hamilton this morning, apart from 3 reconnaissance laps. Verstappen 57.1, great lap. Perez 57.3. Stroll 57.4. Oh, Norris sliding all over the place on those intermediate tyres. Over the line. Goes 8th, 2 minutes, 0.2. Raikkonen goes second on a 57.2. The track is improving, definitely. Not seen that dog for a while, which is good news. I assume he's been sensible and gone and hidden away from the rain. If I go quiet a second, apologies. Checking something, make sure I'm not missing it. Nope, we're all right. I agree. Yeah, last to the line, says the ginger cheese. I think that's exactly what we're going to get today. Last to the line, 100%. Stroll out there flying. Albon's gone fastest on a 56.7. Over the line. That wasn't over the line. He's starting a lap. Here comes Ricciardo. Ricciardo goes 7th on a 58.0. Verstappen, is he improving over the line? Stroll goes fastest on a 55.7. Verstappen doesn't improve. What's Perez doing out there? His teammate. Lance Stroll looking handy out there at the moment. Perez goes 3rd on a 56.9. So at the moment, Bottas goes 4th. So right now we've got 2019 Mercedes 1st and 3rd and a Red Bull from 2020 2nd. Hamilton only goes 7th. 57.5. Hamilton's struggling out there. Well, this is a surprise. You just would expect, wouldn't you, that Lewis Hamilton in the wet would come alive, a bit like Max Verstappen does, and they both be kind of the class of the field as we saw back in Styria. We're not seeing that at the moment. Raikkonen goes 2nd. So it's just constantly improving out there. This is Vettel, Giovinazzi, Gasly, Leclerc and Sainz in the bottom 5. Norris on the bubble. But I think we are going to be, as we've said a couple of times and as has been said in chat, going to be a case of first across the line. Perez's lap time deleted, apparently. Verstappen purple in the middle, Perez purple in the first. Leclerc goes 12th. I'd be disappointed to see Leclerc out in Q2, to be honest. I'm watching Verstappen through the final corner. He's not got sideways. Oh, come on, Max. You're my entertainment. That's not good enough. Goes fastest to 53.4. 2.2 seconds quicker. Perez is quick as well. What's he going to do? He needs an improvement. Down in 7th place, goes 2nd on a 54.0. This is going to get a bit chaotic in the last 5 minutes or so. So I will try and update what I can. I'm not a commentator. Certainly not a good one. 54.9 for Bottas goes 3rd. Lewis Hamilton goes 4th, so that's better for him. 55. The track seems to be coming to Mercedes a little bit, getting some heat in those tyres. Warren saying almost Inter's time. McLaren might have been smart here. That's what I was wondering. Just get some heat in them. But what are they doing at the moment, McLaren? You say that, mate. McLaren have both just gone out on the wets. So maybe not. Maybe not. Stroll haters, so original. Ignore it, mate. Ignore it. I've learned to ignore it now. He could win 100 world championships, and in some people's eyes, he'll always just be a pay driver, so that's fine. But he's far better than he's given credit for. You can look at his junior career, and aside from the last few races, he's been pretty decent this season and silenced a lot of his critics. So I like Lance Stroll. It is what it is. Same with Nikita Mazepin. I don't think he's F1 ready. I might be in the minority, but I just don't. I don't think he's had a particularly brilliant junior career. A decent season in F2 this year, and he did well in GP3 in a field that contained maybe two other brilliant drivers. But he's not had a great junior career, but he'll get into Formula One because he's got the money, and it's up to him then to shut people up that criticise him. So, yeah, we'll see. 4 minutes to go as we approach the 4-minute mark. Gasly in the pits, Verstappen quicker again, 52.0, track constantly improving. It doesn't look like rain's falling anymore, so it's just going to keep drying out. Stroll goes fourth on a 54.5. So Red Bull, Racing Point, Mercedes, and it's Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Giovinazzi, Ocon, Vettel, Leclerc, Norris, Gasly, and Sainz at the bottom 5. Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton goes third place, 1.8 off Verstappen. So, like I say, just starting to find their feet now, Mercedes, with 3:25 to go in Q2. If you are joining late, just a heads up, we are running late because we had a very long red flag in Q1 due to the rain. So we've been kind of waiting for that. And then another red flag because of Grosjean. Bloody Grosjean. Have a good slug of water, I think, because this is all going to come alive again. Ted Kravitz saying pit now for some new wet tyres if you want to get some heat into them. So we might see a few pit. Ocon is going to stay out. So now it's going to be a case of just doing what they can on what they've got. Track is dry, track is improving. It's still slippery as hell. And then, of course, they've got that tarmac underneath, which is going to be as good as being wet anyway. So Norris 11th at the moment. Again, I'd be surprised to see McLaren go out. Disappointed to see Leclerc go out. He's been pretty mega. I know practice is only practice, but he's been pretty good. He's been up there with Verstappen most of the weekend so far, so I'd like to see Leclerc get through. I mean, I'd like to see Vettel get through as well, but 58.0 improves to 12th place, Leclerc, so he's not looking like he's going to do it at the moment. Verstappen improves again, a 50.2, 3.5 seconds quicker than the Mercedes, both Mercedes. Afternoon, Theodore. Hello, mate. That was an accent. Hope you're all right. Having a good afternoon, enjoying this show. I was going to put another word there, but yeah, you can insert your own word. Shower show. That's weird. Let's not. Let's move on quickly. So Verstappen flying at the moment, out there, league of his own again. Yeah, Kimi is still out there, improving as well as Kimi Räikkönen, improving his sectors. P7 at the moment. Time to beat 150.2. Driver at risk is Carlos Sainz on a 156.943. Ocon is just 11 thousandths behind him, so it's close in that fight. Renault have been nowhere, really, all weekend. And if they get through to Q3 and McLaren don't, I'll be really surprised. I know conditions and all of that business, but wow. Raikkonen goes third, 153.7. A minute to go. Track seems to be... Yeah, track is definitely drying. Vettel was flat there through the kink on the run to turn 12. So through 12 and into 13, Sebastian Vettel. Takes his time to get on the power through there because obviously still very wet through that chicane. Then into turn 14. Albon goes second, 52.2. Sebastian Vettel over the line. Only 11th on a 56.0. Needs to keep going on that lap if he can. Yeah, Ricciardo goes 9th. Giovinazzi now on the bubble in 10th. Can Vettel go again? Does he need to charge anything? I'll keep an eye on his first sector to see what he does. Oh, twitching is Pierre Gasly at the minute, who is 15th, and Sainz is out. Sainz is P11, he's out. Checkered flag is out. That's a nightmare for Sainz. Hamilton goes third, so try and keep up with this one. Vettel is improving, so he can still get a lap in. And what is Charles Leclerc doing? He is not improving at the moment. Is he? No, he isn't. So Gasly needs this. This is it. We're coming to the line now with Pierre Gasly through 13. Through the lovely drift of turn 14. What does he do? He doesn't improve. Gasly only 15th on a 58.5. Wow. That's a bit of a surprise. We've already lost Sainz. That's a surprise as well. And of course, 11th place isn't that much of an advantage this weekend because you can start on any tyre anyway tomorrow, wherever you qualify. So there isn't that advantage for him. What is Giovinazzi going to do? I'm saying Giovinazzi, Crofty. P5. P5 for Gio, 153.4. Here comes Esteban Ocon over the line, 53.6 into 6th place. Lando Norris is improving. So is Sebastian Vettel. Over the line goes Norris, only 11th on a 54.9. That is a surprise. Both McLarens out. That's my fault for saying I had a good feeling about them this weekend. What can Vettel do? Over the line, only into P12, 155.1. Charles Leclerc better in the middle sector. What can he do in the final sector? He needs a 54.7 or better, and he ain't going to get it. No, he isn't, and Leclerc's going to go out. Leclerc only 14th, so we've lost... Wow, we've lost Lando Norris, Sebastian Vettel, Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc and Pierre Gasly from Q2. So through, in this order, go Verstappen, Albon, Hamilton, Stroll, Giovinazzi, Ocon, Bottas, Raikkonen, Perez and Ricciardo. There'll be people in chat, I'm sure, are very, very happy with Bottas 7th, Raikkonen 8th and Perez 9th because the memes write themselves. Basically, yeah, let's not get into that. But yeah, Ricciardo scraping through in the end by a fairly comfortable 7/10 of a second, actually. But wow, that was an interesting session. And the track is going to continue to improve into Q3 now. So awesome stuff. I'm really surprised. And I know obviously the conditions are different to what we've seen this weekend, apart from in sort of the latter stage of FP3. But if you'd have said to me at the start of the week, or sort of this morning, that either 2 Renaults or 2 McLarens would go out and the others would get through, I'd fully expect to see the Renaults sort of 11th and 13th, not McLaren. So Norris in 11th and Sainz 13th. That's a big surprise. I think Gasly as well down in 15th, but Fiat struggled too. Yeah. Giovinazzi there in 5th place. So great lap from him. Giovinazzi very happy with that one. We've still got Q3 to go. It's 1:30. We started about 11:30. Love it. Absolutely love it. Extended F1 qualifying. So I wonder, what do we reckon, chat? Do you think we might see some drivers out there on the intermediates in this session, this third session? It's definitely drying out. I would maybe wet tyres for the first half and then come in for some inters towards the end if the track improves enough. Is that true? Is it home Felix or Felix? The last time an Alfa Romeo out-qualified both Ferraris was 2019 Germany and then 1982 South Africa. They did in Germany, didn't they? Because Raikkonen had a mega qualifying, I think, in 2019, or at least a mega start. If that's true, that's a mad stat. Interesting. Warren says maybe 4 laps on the wets and then onto the inters. Home says nah, too risky. Anybody else notice that Stroll is faster than Gio for now? Says Daffy plays. He is, isn't he, at the moment? Carlos Sainz will be going to the stewards, just looking at it now on the replay. Perez being impeded by Sainz. Are we really throwing impeding penalties out in these conditions, do you think? Apparently Sainz is doing a flying lap 2 according to Andreas Seidel, so no, that won't be an impeding thing. I mean, if you are like Who are we thinking? So like a Daniel Ricciardo, if you're sat there in Q3 and you're like P8 or 9 and the track's kind of marginal, with maybe 2.5 minutes to go, do you come in and put the inters on and just take a gamble? Because you know, yes, okay, there is a difference between 8th and 10th, but it's not a huge difference. You're not going to lose a lot, so you're going to be starting top 10 anyway. Do you take that risk? Or a Raikkonen or a Giovinazzi maybe, if they haven't got the speed, if everyone's on the same tyre to get into that top 5, maybe do you try the inters with a couple of minutes to go? Let's see, why not? Give it a go. Grosjean says, no, it wasn't fun. Oh, God, Roman, you're so boring. I'm joking. He's all right, is Rogro. He's all right. Could be I think he's looking at IndyCar, I think. He's been talking to Marcus Ericsson about a seat in IndyCar for next year. I know a lot of people in my comments, actually. I say a lot, maybe like 6 people out of like 500 comments, but you know, quite a few people have said that they quite fancy Magnussen in NASCAR. Would be quite fun. He looks pissed, quite frankly. Just gonna listen to Magnussen here. Oh, he's not happy. He's saying, K-Mag saying that his lap was bad because he backed off for the double wave yellows, but nobody else did. Interesting. Wow, Magnussen. He's got, you know, he's got a really good point. I know not a lot of people like Magnussen, but he's got a great point in there. He's just saying that he backed off for the double wave yellow, nobody else did. So he's going to talk to the race director because, as far as he's concerned, if that's the way it's going to be, he'd rather go flat out through the double wave yellows and get through to Q2 and then take a penalty later than anything else. So he's not happy. He's got a point. He's got a point. I don't agree with wanting to go flat out during the double wave yellows, but if everyone else is doing it, I think that's a fair point. I do. But then I like K-Mac. I think he's a dying breed, is K-Mag. And this is the thing that we've had these debates before. They're doing it on Sky now, that when you have these impeding investigations and all of that in qualifying, because they don't get sorted until the end, we are green, because they don't get sorted until the end of the session, then you're not really penalising people, are you, if you know what I mean? If somebody doesn't get through because somebody who gets a penalty does, that penalty really needs to come in qualifying. But how can you investigate 10 different drivers super quickly? And yeah, difficult. So Magnussen not happy, understandably, but Q3 is underway. Verstappen straight out there, Albon's out there, Hamilton as well. I think Albon's out there, yes he is. Giovinazzi, Ocon, Bottas and Raikkonen, Ricciardo joining us. So Stroll and Perez will go out too, soon too. Yeah. Martin, I say, yeah, you can't hear it, can you? Martin Brunner just saying if there's double waved yellows, you're expected to abandon your lap. So he's agreeing with Kevin Magnussen as well. Good point from K-Mag. Here we go then. So everyone on the wets except for Mr. Ocon. So Esteban Ocon's going to have a go. Is it Fadri or Fadri says, sorry I'm new to this, but why can we not see them racing? First of all, welcome. Good to have you with us. Just copyright law. I can't show the footage, unfortunately, so it's live timing from the awesome Cranky Yankee, which updates in real time. And just me talking nonsense for a couple of hours on a Saturday. But I can promise you, I absolutely promise you, if I could show you footage without any FOM trouble, I would. But I have enough of that as it is without using footage. It's not worth the aggro and having the channel deleted. So yeah, copyright law is the reason for that one. Maybe one day FOM will go down the route of Formula E and let us show a bit more, but I doubt it. Formula One's a little bit bigger than Formula E, I think. Only a little bit, but yeah. Oh, Max Verstappen sliding through 1 and 2 there. Very nicely indeed. He's going to be first to get a lap in again. He was flying in Q2, wasn't he? Nice. Yeah, Verstappen. Oh, back end. If you're watching this, if you are watching this somewhere, whilst I'm talking over it, it's just watching these cars slide on the offboard is somehow actually more spectacular than the onboard to me. I don't know why. I think because in order to spot it on the offboard, it's got to be a pretty big slide, hasn't it? But we are on board with Max now. Purple first sector, obviously first one to do a time anyway. He's 2 seconds quicker than Albon in the first sector, to be fair. Albon actually not a very good first sector at all. He's slower than Raikkonen at the moment. Kimi loving it out there. That experience kicking in. We know from races we've seen this season, he likes a cold track, doesn't he? Does Kimi anyway, so pretty good in the wet. Made a mega start. One of the best first laps we'll ever see. I'm sure it was Portimao. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was that or the Nürburgring, but I'm sure it was Portimao. Stunning first lap. Is it Portimao or Portimao? Is it Portimao as in mayonnaise? No offense to anyone from Portugal there. I keep saying Portimao, but yeah. I think Max is about to put in a very hot lap here, which is possibly... Well, the track will keep improving, so maybe not. Oh, big slide again. The sun's setting. You just see the light changing on the grandstand, which is quite a nice shot. Over the line goes Max Verstappen on a 1:52.3. No one's getting anywhere near that. Albon does a 56.4. Wow. What a lap. Raikkonen goes third. Giovinazzi is in 4th place. No one's getting near Max Verstappen today, unless the Mercs have got something up their sleeve. Over the line on the Inters goes Ocon. P5 on a 59.8. I think he's gone too early to them. Bottas goes second on a 56.4. Ricciardo kicking up the back. Hamilton on a 57.2. Max Verstappen, unless it dries out, is on pole position. That's a 52.3. He is 4.1 seconds quicker than Valtteri Bottas and Alex Albon. And 4.9 quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Stroll goes second, 1.5 seconds off Max Verstappen. That is stunning. Wow. They've gone to Inters, so they are doing it on the Inters here. What does Perez do? I'll shut my damn mouth. Sergio Perez goes fastest on a 52.0. Wow. On the Inters, but Max Verstappen is going quicker again. Albon's improving. Much better, but still a second off at the moment. Verstappen's flying. Verstappen pits. So Verstappen's pitted despite being comfortably purple in the first and second sectors. Yellow flags out there. He's going to go Inters, I think, Max Verstappen, because that was an intermediate lap from Sergio Perez, who is fastest. Red flag it. End the session there. Stop it. That's it. Stop the count. Stop the count. That's it. We're done. I've got the result I want. Let's stop it now. I'm saying no more than that. That's as political as I'm getting. That's it, all right? What a lap from Checo. Please don't delete that. Oh, he spins on his in lap, I assume that was. If that was his flying lap, my God. That was really good call from Racing Point there to put the Inters on. They were rushing around before the start of the session, weren't they? It's racing pit stops as well. Oh, in come the Mercedes, straight to the Inters. I said last across the line. You guys in chat have been saying last across the line. That's what we're going to get. They're stacking the Mercs. Bottas is waiting, and off he goes, waiting for traffic by the look of it, and probably waiting for a gap. This session's exploded. I said Max Verstappen had pole. Max Verstappen does not at the moment. Sergio Perez does. 5 minutes to go. Kimi Raikkonen still on the wet tyre. Still has time to come in if he needs to. If he needs to come in and put on the Inters, he can. He's still got time. I assume they'll all be in pretty quickly because it's working beautifully out there, the Inters at the moment. What Perez is hoping for is those clouds that are lingering just drop a bit of water now and get him his first career pole position. 8 career podiums. Should be 9 after Imola, but it wasn't, obviously. That was an odd call from Racing Point, wasn't it? In Imola. It's just really weird. But then they're reacting to a race. They haven't got hindsight, have they? So Hamilton apparently not convinced, according to Ted, about the Inters. So I just wonder. This is going to be a crazy and fascinating 3 minutes and 50 seconds. I wouldn't say any one of those 10 could be on pole position, but I think any one of 4 or 5 could. Sergio Perez, what's he doing out there? Is he improving? No, he isn't. So maybe he needs to come in and get some fresh Inters on. I wonder if he might do. This reminds me a little bit of Belgium 2018 when Ocon qualified 3rd, I think it was. Racing Point shining. Is he going to come in and put some... He's not putting some fresh Inters on, so Perez quite happy to keep going, but he's not improving. But that lap was stunning from Checo, so he's still quick, though. Still a good time. Albon personal best in the first sector. 42.1. Max Verstappen did a 42.8. So he's not quick enough. So I wonder if he's just backing off to get some... He's right behind Kimi Räikkönen on the track map. Or is it Gio? It's Kimi or Gio. He's behind an Alpha. Got a yellow flag out there on the main timing screen. It'll take a second to update on TV. Verstappen saying he's got no grip on the tyres. Perez is on it. 40.6. Hang on a minute. No way. No way. I will not get my hopes up. I love underdogs doing well. Yellow flags out there as well. Perez absolutely flying out there. Can he get the purple sector in the middle as well? There's a yellow flag out there. I'm staring at the timing screens. Forget the TV. What's he going to do in the middle? Albon goes purple in the final sector to go 3rd. Sergio Perez middle sector, 2.1 seconds quicker. Green in the middle sector, so he is still quick. This is going to be last across the line. Verstappen is going to get another run, but he's still right behind Kimi Räikkönen and Martin Brundle saying, nah. Crofty's voice breaking. He's getting way too excited. I'm just not saying anything. Sergio Perez was a 52. Oh, 49.3 from Checo. 3 seconds quicker than Verstappen. Track improving all the time. I can feel your tension in chat. I can feel it. What can Lance Stroll do? Go second on a 51.4. It's a Racing Point 1-2. And Verstappen is still behind Raikkonen. What is going on out there? Mercedes 7th and 8th. Ricciardo in 6th. What is going on out there? Kimi Räikkönen is improving. Ricciardo's improving. Ocon improving. We've got yellow flags out there on the main timing screen. I'm literally on the edge. I want to stand up. I can't adjust my mic to do it. Verstappen goes second, 1.3 seconds off Perez. Perez had an off, apparently. He's pulling a Rosberg. So Verstappen is going to get another run here, and he needs to, but he's on the wet tyres. What's Ricciardo going to do? I'm trying to keep an eye on everyone. Ricciardo goes fourth on a 151.5. We've got Perez, Verstappen, Stroll, Ricciardo, Albon, Raikkonen, Bottas, Hamilton, Giovinazzi, and Ocon. We've got another yellow flag in sector 1. Max Verstappen, personal best first sector. It is not purple. Stroll has gone purple in the middle sector. Stroll is flying out there. Lewis Hamilton on a personal best as well. I've had to step away from the mic because I'm getting too excited, so it goes all echoey. I'm sorry. This is quite a moment. This is how I was when Gasly was heading on to win the Italian Grand Prix. I should have done a watch along for that one. I really should have done. But here comes Sergio. No, it's Lance Stroll to the line. What can he do? Over the line goes Lance Stroll, who goes pole position. Just Lance Stroll. What is Max Verstappen doing? He's personal best in the middle, but he is not purple at the moment. This is going to be close. Over the line goes Lewis Hamilton. He is into 6th place. Mercedes are not getting pole position today. Where is Valtteri Bottas? Oh, this is insane. Over the line goes Bottas on a 153.2 in 9th place. Max Verstappen. What can he do? Merckx are 6th and 9th. What is Verstappen doing? He's absolutely on it. Max Verstappen over the line. Goes second. Lance Stroll. No way. What's Albon doing? Is he the only one out there improving at the moment? Is he anywhere near it? Just hang on, Crofty. We've still got Alex Albon out there. He's coming to the line. He was P5. He is P4. Lance Stroll is on pole position for the Turkish Grand Prix. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Sit the fuck down, Stroll haters. Pole position, 2 podiums. Could have had more in Formula One. Just to pay driver my fat ass. That is the worst language you are ever going to get on this channel, but it is true. Lance Stroll on pole position ahead of Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Alex Albon, and Daniel Ricciardo. Mercedes 6th and 9th, Ocon 7th. It's 8th for Raikkonen, 10th for Giovinazzi. Oh. Yes, and there it is as well. First Canadian on pole since Jacques Villeneuve in 1997. Ooh, excuse my language. I do get a little bit too passionate sometimes with Formula One and need to stop it. So who asked earlier who my favourite driver was? There you go. It's all been exposed now, hasn't it? Lance Stroll. Oh, what a lap from Lance Stroll. Only 0.3 quicker in the end. Only 0.3 quicker in the end. Sergio Perez 3rd. Oh. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And this is what we expected from Racing Point. Maybe not pole position, but that's what we expected at the start of the season. And once again, confirmed what me and Jonty have said so many times over the last couple of years on this channel. When the track is cold, when the track is wet, Lance Stroll can deliver. And that is what he needed, given how much he struggled in the last few races. But also, and I think he doesn't do Saturdays. He's crap on Saturdays. What is going on? Before this season, it's all I ever said about Lance Stroll was he needs to sort his Saturdays out. There you go. Win tomorrow confirmed. Not quite. Oh, what a unbelievable. Oh, I'm just taking a minute. I'll come to you guys in chat shortly. I just want to listen to his reaction. That is incredible. Understandably delighted. All this needs now is a 2020 twist, doesn't it? Do you know, actually, Outcry, I think that could be the first recorded F-bomb on the channel. I try to keep it as family-friendly as I can, but I'm not going to apologise for passion. Definitely not. I'll apologise if I've offended anyone with the F-word, but yeah. Yeah, great point from Daniel Ricciardo from Martin Brundle there. Daniel Ricciardo P5, good lap from him. But Alex Albon 4th. That's where he needs to be. But usually you'd expect I suppose two Mercedes are in the top 3 there with Stroll and Perez. Last year's Mercedes, but yeah. Oh, wow. Kimi Raikkonen P8, by the way. So I'll go through the order just while we get ready for these interviews. So if you are just tuning in, Lance Stroll is on pole position for tomorrow's Turkish Grand Prix from Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Alex Albon and Daniel Ricciardo. 6th place is Lewis Hamilton, 7th for Esteban Ocon, 8th for Kimi Raikkonen, 9th for Valtteri Bottas. Don't forget he has to beat Hamilton by 8 points to keep the title, in air quotes, fight alive. Antonio Giovinazzi is 10th, Lando Norris 11th, Sebastian Vettel 12th, Carlos Sainz 13th, Charles Leclerc 14th, Pierre Gasly 15th, 16th for Kevin Magnussen, 17th for Daniel Kvyat, 18th for George Russell, who will start from the back of the grid because of an engine penalty, 19th for Romain Grosjean, and 20th for Nicholas Latifi. And I think that's about the first time we've seen Lance Stroll smile for a few weeks. Another good point there from Martin Brundle, as he often does. Don't forget we have got a number of drivers who'll be going to the stewards after this for the yellow flag, potential yellow flag infringements in Q2. I don't know who they are. I'll have a double check on Twitter and see if we've had anything there. But, what a moment. What a moment. So apparently everybody except Hamilton and Perez improved. And Verstappen was already on track, so let's see what happens. That's from Luke Smith. So I suppose deep breath, this could all fall apart yet for poor Lance Stroll. I hope not. I really hope not. Oh. Unreal. Just listen to some interviews. What are you guys saying in chat? Probably can't quite believe what's going on here. Blobmon says, as a Red Bull fan, I'm pretty confident about tomorrow's race. I think you should be. 2nd and 4th. Never rule out Mercedes, of course, but it's very much looked like a Red Bull weekend so far until today, and now it's a Racing Point weekend. Max will be gutted, but he's well clear of the Mercs. There is also the possibility, by the way, that everyone gets penalties and they pretty much start where they are because obviously the penalties will cancel each other out. So there we go. Humperdinck says he paid for that rain. Oh, bless him. I like that. I like that. See, this is why I leap to F1's defence a lot. But you look at this season, yeah, Mercedes have walked both championships, but we've had McLarens on the podiums. We've had Renaults on the podiums. We've had Ferrari on the podium, despite their struggles this year. We've had Racing Point on the podium. We've had a win for Gasly. We've got Stroll on pole. There's been some great twists in this season and some great stories as well. Yeah, again, championships have been done since probably Styria, but, you know, the rest of it's been pretty decent. We've had a few races, but yeah. Is there a Reddit F1 word page? Is that what you're trying to tell me, Dave? I don't know. I don't really use Reddit. I probably should because there's a lot of good stuff on there. But we've got Lance Stroll having an interview. We have had some great racing this year. I'll always argue that. There's been some shite racing, no doubt. But people saying that, you know, no, you just, yeah. But recency bias is one to get thrown at me a lot. No, I know when I've seen a good race, thanks. It's, you know, I've been watching nearly 30 years. I know when I've seen a trash race. I know when I've seen a great race. I know when I've seen a race. So, yeah. Thomas says, is it also wet tomorrow? There is 40% chance of rain, I think we checked a little bit earlier. So, yeah. Apparently, according to Dave the Fish, there's an F1 word Reddit. Let's go and have a look. It's probably just people saying I'm a knob, but that's absolutely fine. Just generally speaking, I get that anyway. So, dad joke of the day tops mine from Philip Clark. Give a round of applause, mate. It says Stroll's P1 was a walk in the park. Very good, sir. Very good. You win dad joke of the day. Kind of as well. You've got to remember after this weekend, if Hamilton wraps up the title at the front, there's nothing left to fight for, is there? So we might get some elbows out between the two Mercs and maybe a few more, a bit more wheel-to-wheel racing with Max Verstappen. I mean, we've got Bahrain, which should be good. We generally get okay racing there at the very worst. And then you've got the Sakir Grand Prix straight afterwards, different track layout, the oval-like layout that looks nothing like an oval and is in no way oval-like. So that'll be interesting. But don't expect much in Abu Dhabi. Lance Stroll looking very, very happy, as you might expect. I'll go through the order again in a minute and we'll have a quick waffle. But we've been live for quite a while, so we'll probably wrap it up very, very soon. Matthias has just arrived, says, wait, what the... Yeah, Stroll got pole. He did indeed. That surprised a lot of people. It surprised me. I was not expecting that because he's not really... Racing Point looked good, didn't they? They looked okay. They were in the mix with Red Bull, but I didn't think they were in the fight for pole. And then they came and stuck the Inters on, and boom. Absolutely brilliant. So there you go. Just enjoy the moment on screen. Lance Stroll, pole position. Max Verstappen sat in the stairway there on the floor. Looks a bit peed off. Which I can sort of understand, to be fair. I could sort of get it. You'd expect if you were in a normal fight between Verstappen, Stroll and Perez that Verstappen would come out on top, but he's got to be happy in second place. Hamilton's sixth, Bottas is ninth. He's had some great pace this weekend, pretty much in a league of his own on that track at times. He's got to be favourite for the win tomorrow. I don't want to take anything away from Stroll and Perez, but if you're looking at that grid, you expect Verstappen to take the win, don't you? So I think we're disappointed not to get pole, but I think he's still favourite for the win tomorrow. What that has done is don't forget these Mercs can't follow very well. So you've got Bottas behind Raikkonen, and he's got to come through Raikkonen, Ocon, Hamilton, Ricciardo, Albon, Perez, Verstappen and Stroll if he wants to keep his title hopes alive. That's a massive ask. I try to say title hopes alive as best I can, but I'm not attacking Bottas when I do that. I'm being realistic. He's not going to win the World Championship this year. It's done. It's just a matter of time. And if it's not won this weekend, we're just prolonging the inevitable. But he'll want to take it as far as he can, won't he? He's going to want to get it to at least Bahrain if he can. So, yeah. Race tomorrow, Erasmus, is 10:10 in the morning UK time, which is 1:30 in the afternoon in Turkey. 1:10 in the afternoon, sorry, in Turkey. So a nice early start tomorrow. Is it 1:10? Yeah, 3 hours. 3 hours ahead. I'd imagine, what are we doing? Checking Racing Point's Twitter, apparently. Yeah. Anybody watching this afterwards was going, what is he talking about? I'm talking to chat, don't worry. I'm just having a moment. Apparently Racing Point... John T is livid, understandably, about the second session starting with the tractor on track. I was not happy about that either. I don't think anybody was in chat, really. That was a stupid call. So let's see what Racing Point is saying. Good Lord, that's a lot of letters. Yeah, they kind of exploded about 12 minutes ago and are very excitable. But congratulations to that whole team. It's actually not that team's first pole position, of course, because they got pole positions and wins as Jordan. They also got a pole position with Giancarlo Fisichella at Belgium when they were Force India. And no, Nico Hulkenberg took pole on Williams, didn't he? So, yeah, so it's not their first pole as a team, but for Racing Point, it is their first pole. And with that podium for Stroll at Monza, it's kind of a nice way for that team or that name to disappear this year before they come Aston Martin. They massively and ludicrously early prediction, Aston Martin could be a threat in 22. They really could. They really, really could. I haven't put the checkered flag out. I got too excited. But that is the final session, final result of the session. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm going to have a swig of drink and then we'll go through the order before I wrap this one up. So Lance Stroll will start tomorrow's Turkish Grand Prix from pole position for Racing Point. The first of his career, I believe the first for a Canadian since 1997. I think the European Grand Prix, I believe. Max Verstappen in second place for Red Bull. Third for Sergio Perez, 1.5 seconds off in the second Racing Point, and fourth for Alex Albon. So Red Bull looking very good tomorrow as well. Daniel Ricciardo, fifth place, sixth for Lewis Hamilton, and seventh for Esteban Ocon. Kimi Raikkonen will start in eighth place, and Valtteri Bottas ninth, with Antonio Giovinazzi in 10th place. Just a reminder, the session was wet. The times were set on intermediates and wets, so the top 10 can start on any dry tyre they want to tomorrow, as can the rest of the field. So the advantage that you'd usually get in 11th place where Lando Norris is kind of null and void tomorrow. But just worth mentioning as well, as I've already said on the stream, Valtteri Bottas must beat Hamilton by at least 8 points tomorrow to keep his title hopes alive. He is 9th and Hamilton is 6th. There is a long way for Bottas still to come back. Sebastian Vettel in 12th for Ferrari, 13th for Carlos Sainz, 14th for Charles Leclerc. I think disappointing. Leclerc will be disappointed. Looked really good in practice. 15th for Pierre Gasly. Quite disappointed with him actually as well, to be fair today. It happens, it's just the way the conditions work. Same with McLaren as well. 16th for Kevin Magnussen, not happy after that session. 17th for Daniel Kvyat. 18th for George Russell, who will start from the back of the grid tomorrow with engine penalties. 19th for Romain Grosjean, who ended the second session in the gravel. And Nicholas Latifi, also in the gravel, will not start 20th, but he did qualify in 20th place. Must also be said, a lot of drivers, I think all but about 3 drivers, 2 or 3 drivers, are under investigation for improving under waved yellow flags in the second session. So we might still see this order change. I think it was Perez and Hamilton definitely are not under investigation, and Verstappen shouldn't be either because he was at the front of the queue. So it could still be, and I don't want to say this because it's a hell of a story if Lance Stroll keeps hold of that pole, but there is still a very good possibility that Verstappen could be on pole if there are any post-session penalties. But I will keep an eye on that, and I will let you know over on Twitter and whatnot what is going on. So if you do want to follow me on social media, links in the description down below. I used Instagram twice this week. I know. If you follow me on Insta, you probably fainted when the second post went out. The first one would have been surprising enough, but there you go. There you go. Incredible. Very exciting. If you go back a few minutes into this, you'll hear how excited I was. I kind of lost my mind. But it's just great to see, even in that Racing Point, he's still an underdog and getting pole position, and just despite a rough few races, still being out there answering his critics, Lance Stroll. So it's been a really good season for him overall. I know there's been some issues, but overall he's been so much better this year. It helps when you've got a brilliant car, by the way, or a very good car, but very much deserved, and impressed with him. And also Max Verstappen, I said it earlier, I still think he's favourite for the race tomorrow, even with Lance Stroll on pole position, because he's kind of been on his own this weekend, in a league of his own, and right up there as well. Alex Albon's had a solid weekend too. And I'm hoping for Albon tomorrow, starting 4th. Hopefully he keeps himself out of any midfield trouble and can kind of have a nice, clean race. Because if he can get on that podium, that's going to give him such a boost in confidence. And with his job on the line at Red Bull, some might even say it's already done, but with his job on the line, big race for him tomorrow, and it's going to be fascinating. Of course, we've got the championship battle to keep an eye out for as well between Hamilton and Bottas, as I say. So loads to watch for tomorrow. We've got cars out of position. Looking through the field, I would say Kvyat, Gasly out of position. I'd say Sainz, probably Norris as well, out of position. Leclerc's been quick this weekend. You might argue he is. I don't know. You've got Bottas and Hamilton out of position. Going to be great. And you can overtake around Turkey, especially, and I'm hoping for lots of side-by-side action in that last chicane through 12, 13 and into that final corner. I love that. And then the run to turn 1. If you've watched the highlights from 2011, that's very much what I'm looking forward to. And I hope we get a great race tomorrow. The grid has certainly set us up for a great race. So should all be good, hopefully all good anyway. Just absolutely brilliant. to get. I love these shock results. I love Formula One anyway, but these shock results, these chances of a surprise in these crazy sessions is just what keeps us coming back. So, along with everything else, I'd still watch if there was one car out there processionally driving around every weekend. Some are going to argue that there already is, but I'd still watch because I love it. So it's going to be brilliant. Grip tomorrow. That's a great question from F1 Sherman 52. Terrible, I would imagine, because they were struggling in FP1 on a dry track. They were struggling in FP2 on a dry track, but it did start to rubber in. Then they had road cars going around throughout the night to try and put some rubber down. I kid you not, 2020 things. And then the rain came and washed all that away. We've had absolute chaos. There'll be next to no rubber out there because it's expected to probably rain again tonight. And then it's going to be dry tomorrow. Could rain during the race. 40% chance of rain, so 60% chance it's dry. It is going to be so slippery. I expect a similar first lap to what we saw in Portimao, but extend that probably over most of the race. It's going to be chaos, so no grip is the answer to your question, mate, to be fair, but it's going to be good. In terms of strategy, by the way, one stopper is what Pirelli are predicting, but it kind of depends on graining because the hard tyres are not going to be used. The hard tyres are not going to be used. They are hard enough to switch on at the best of times, but on a track like that, they cannot get the temperature into them. We saw it in practice, so I don't expect to see the hards tomorrow. So the one stopper is based on sort of a soft or medium start and then going to the hards. So I am hoping, because I'd like to see multiple stop races for a change, I am hoping that we'll get them starting on the softs or the mediums and then having to make a couple of stops. So a couple of stints on the softs or a couple of stints on the mediums would be nice. But I'm sure somebody, I mean, if you're, for example, if you are Kevin Magnussen down in 16th place, you might as well just start on the hards and see how far you can get and hope for safety cars and all that towards the end of the race and that. So we'll go. But as David's saying there, the soft wasn't great in practice either. So probably the race tyre, we've seen it a couple of times this season, haven't we, David, actually, that the medium tyre is the better tyre to be on in the race and indeed in qualifying, because it might have been you, actually, that said a couple of races ago that the medium tyre was the one for pole and that's what Lewis Hamilton went and took pole with. So there you go. Race tomorrow, for those asking, is 10:10 a.m. In the UK. So that's 1:10 p.m. in Turkey because they're 3 hours ahead. So yeah, I think we've been set up very nicely for a good race. And even if you kind of forget the title permutations and just ignore the insane fact that Lance Stroll is at the moment on pole position for tomorrow, that battle, you've got Ricciardo in there and Ocon's in there. He needs a good weekend. Raikkonen and Giovinazzi, they've looked quick this weekend. They're right in the mix. You've got those drivers out of position who are going to want to impress. And then you've also got that extra twist. You've got Alex Albon fighting for a seat at Red Bull. He needs a great result. He's fourth. You've got Sergio Perez, desperate. I can't believe I'm saying it. I still can't. Desperate to try and find a seat on the grid next year. You what? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's just the way Formula One works. It makes perfect sense, actually. I'm lying to you. There's plenty of amazing drivers and not enough seats, so that's the truth of it. But you've got Perez fighting for his Formula One future. If you listen to the rumour mill, Esteban Ocon will be in that Renault next year because he's already signed his contract. However, Pierre Gasly apparently is an option for them for 22, so he's going to want to start getting himself up a gear and starting to impress and rolling into next year. Well, you've got Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris in that fight for third in the constructors with Renault and Racing Point, and they're going to need to come through. I can't wait. I cannot wait for tomorrow's race. And I know I say that every single Saturday, and sometimes I'm left very disappointed, other times I'm left absolutely elated, like I was when Lance Stroll crossed the line for pole, but wow. Driver of the day. Come on then, chat. Who's your driver of qualifying? I suspect I might know the answer. But who is your driver of qualifying? Pop one surname in the chat, and I will read a few out before we disappear and tell you mine as well. And please do drop a like on the stream. 338 likes and 1,100 people watching, so a few more likes would be absolutely mega. Let's see if we get over 400 before we end. That would be absolutely mega. I kind of want to sit here all afternoon now and just chat to you all. Please do subscribe as well if you're new. I forgot to say that one, but yeah, I just want to chat and talk nonsense now for the next 3 hours, but I kind of can't. I need a wee for starters. I need to go and calm down. That was all very, very exciting. Great stuff. So if you are just tuning in, Lance Stroll, provisional pole position for tomorrow's Turkish Grand Prix from Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Alex Albon and Daniel Ricciardo. I don't want to say the popular drivers, but the drivers I often get asked about in chat and in comments. Hamilton's 6th, Bottas in 9th place, Raikkonen is 8th, Norris is 11th, Vettel is 12th, Leclerc is 14th. and Kevin Magnussen is 16th. So there you go. George Russell, don't forget, will start from the back regardless of what happens. So we shall see. What a crazy... Do you know... got it. What a crazy session. What a crazy season at times. But would we expect anything else from 2020? Really? I mean, you cannot rule anything out. And do you know what? Obviously, he's not listening, but I hope nobody takes this as some kind of Stroll bashing. But do you know what? The way things go, I would not be at all surprised to find out in 3 hours' time that actually Kevin Magnussen's on pole position, everyone else has got penalties. That's just the way it is sometimes. So let's see what you guys are saying for your driver of the day. My driver of the day, of course, is Lance Stroll. My second driver of the day will probably actually be Alex Albon. I think 4th place in a... Well, you're going to tell me off for that, aren't you? You're being too soft, Sean. You're being too nice. Because it probably should be Perez because he's been mega too. But I think 4th place sets him up very nicely. And if it is a tight race between Racing Point and Red Bull, which I don't expect it will, I fully expect Mercedes to be in the fight tomorrow as well. He's kind of perfectly placed to maybe pull the trigger early in the early phases of the race if they want to switch strategy up and help Verstappen to a win. So Verstappen, of course, battle for second in the drivers. So yeah. Franklin says, future world champion Lance Stroll. That's a bold prediction. Everyone write that one down. Franklin said that on the 14th of November 2020, just after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Do you know what? I feel like I take things away from people when I say this, but I don't, and I don't intend to. But if you put Stroll in that Mercedes and say Hamilton wasn't there, he'd probably be in with a fight at the championship. So if the car's underneath any driver, they could probably deliver a championship if their teammate isn't too good. Yeah. Albon had a decent quali, said Ben. Completely agree. Lance for Punky Pink 83, aka Emily. I'll just call you Emily. Says Lance. Manor says mate Lance Stroll. Checo for F1 Sherman. Kimi for Red Bull Sauber Petronas. Calvin says Stroll. I agree. Rishav says Lance. Falco's gone with Max. I think he's gutted, but again, second on the grid is not a terrible result, isn't it? Or is it? Trip Lance. Rusky says Lance as well. Sam says Money Boy. Wawa24 says Latifi. Great call. Ben Roberts says Stroll. Possibly already read that one. Samar says Lance. Kute says Stroll, mate. Lancelot says Matthias. Pem says Lance. Eunice says Lance as well. Let's scroll down a little bit further. Hugo's gone with Max Verstappen. Safe Plum's gone with Stroll. So's Max. So's Magma. So has Big Heck. Jonathan's gone with Kimi. Panos has gone with K-Mag. Nuke Dukem has gone with Raikkonen. Lance has gone with... I've already read that one. We'll not do that one again. Anybody saying anybody other than the usual? James has said Ricciardo. That's a good shout. I think in a normal session... You might argue Daniel Ricciardo for driver of the day, but I think given you've got Stroll and Perez up there, it's kind of difficult. But I do, it's a very good session. Put himself in a good position. Any chaos behind, and if he can get himself in that fight, we know that he's probably got the same pace or maybe a little bit quicker than Racing Point. We'll see. He could be off for another podium. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? Dat Boy says Grosjean, driver of the day. No race Watchalong tomorrow, I'm afraid, Astro. I still haven't got the things sorted that I need to. Unfortunately, I'm hoping to get them before the end of the season, but worst case scenario, we'll just have the quali ones. You have to do with me bitching in a race reaction about something that makes no sense. Yes, there we go then. Couple more very quickly. CT Sports says Kimi and Lando Norris for Shin. One more, final one, last one. Trip Juicy says Lance Stroll. Fabulous, everyone. Thank you so much for your company this afternoon. It's been good fun. Is there any info on whom is under investigation for double-waved yellow flag infringements? That's from Nuke Dukem. As far as I understand, Luke Smith on Twitter said it's just Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, and Sergio Perez that are okay. So that would say there's at least 15 drivers, weren't there, on track? So you're looking at about 12 people there, 10 or 12 people under investigation if they're all out there. So everybody but... who was out on track, but Hamilton, Perez. I'm just going to have a double check for you, actually, because it is something well worth mentioning before we end the stream, actually, isn't it? Because this could all change. God knows what this grid will be tomorrow. M Sport Extra have tweeted. So Carlos Sainz under investigation. We know that anyway for impeding. M Sport Extra. If you haven't followed them on Twitter, you should do, because he just does a great job. He really does. Drivers under investigation for yellow flag infringements during Q1. Sainz, Ricciardo, Gasly, Stroll, Perez, Norris, Hamilton, Bottas, Magnussen and Russell. So apparently pretty much everybody It wouldn't be Latifi because he bought out the yellows, didn't he? And K-Mag did slow down because he was angry about that. So I think pretty much everybody was on track, but I've not seen an official stewards thing. Do you want... I assume the answer is yes, but do you want me to just double check that? Before I go, I'll go to the FIA page. It might just take me a minute to load it all up, so just bear with me and I'll just see if I can find it, because it is, like I said, it's definitely worth just double check it. I don't think it's Max Verstappen, because Max Verstappen was front of the queue, wasn't he? And so was Albon. So they should both be okay. So the official, what have we got? So the official summons at the moment, we've got car 55 for impeding 11, so that is Sainz and Perez. And then obviously the reverse, Perez and Sainz, because he'll go to the stewards as well. So there's nothing official on the FIA stewards website at the moment. But I will keep an eye on that right up until I sign off from the stream, because that could quite easily change, because we tend to get them in fairly quickly. I have to double check. Yeah, they're the only ones at the moment, but I will refresh that in a minute, and we'll keep an eye on it. I'll see if any journos on the old Twitter sphere are saying the same. But I'm hoping, because, like, look, I know people don't like Lance Stroll. I'm not. I mean, I'm an idiot, but I'm not that much of an idiot. I'm fully aware people don't like him, but I think it would be kind of gutting if, I know rules are rules, but it'd be kind of gutting if he loses that pole position with a penalty and it kind of takes the shine off it. Now, if he's found guilty of speeding under double wave yellows, yes, he needs that taking off him. He must get a penalty. That's a safety issue. It has to be done. My point is, it would just be kind of gutting, wouldn't it, as a fan, to see a load of drivers who are out of position, who have done such a good job in Q3, end up getting penalised for some stupid mistake in Q1. But there you go. Like I say, it's not I'm not saying that they shouldn't be penalised. I'm not saying that, they should think about the fans, which is something I see all the time. That's a crap argument. If you break the rules, you need to be punished, and especially if it's a safety issue. But it would just be kind of gutting that happens. So it's still just a Perez and Sainz document. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll answer a couple of questions. We'll go for another 5 minutes, and then I'll check it again. Jonty just saying on Twitter, 3 years F1 Word and I have been talking about Stroll's wet weather and or cold tyre capabilities. We have. I don't get a lot right. So it's nice to get something right, every now and again. It's from Monza. 2018? 17? No, 17, wasn't it? The year that he got the podium at Baku. So it was Monza 2017 when I first spotted it. And then when I got to the end of that season, I went through a load of stats, and I did the same in 2018. And it just struck us both that when you look at the stats from those seasons, Lance Stroll was the driver who gained the most positions on the first lap. So that's a guy who can handle cold tyres very, very well. So if we've got a slippery track tomorrow and it's a bit chilly, he might get off the line very, very well. But I will do predictions as well in a minute, but I would fully expect to see Max Verstappen take the win tomorrow as it stands, but anything can change. So we'll keep an eye on that one. How did your other half keep so quiet during these streams? I'm locked in my office with me sound stuff on there, and so it's fine. Nice and quiet. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Dave says quite an insane quali. Wow, it was an insane quali, especially the 50 minutes we had to fill while we waited for the red flag. But we managed to talk about everything except, in fact, I think we covered pretty much everything that we should have covered. Really, I don't think we went too far off topic. Oh, topics, they're nice. I like topics. There you go, straight away. That's true as well, Duck Dastardly. That stat means they're bad in quali. Yeah, well, Lance Stroll was. I'm talking about a guy who's just taken pole position, but generally that's not his strong suit, is it? His qualifying. So that's a very good point. It means that they're out of position, but it also means they've got hold of those tyres quite nicely early on, because often when you look into it a bit deeper, sort of he'll gain places and he'll fall back a little bit. So I think it is the cold tyre thing, but it is a faster car out of position as well. But in that Williams, maybe not quite so much, but he generally wasn't great in qualifying. But pretty good. AT wants to know the weather forecast for tomorrow. At the moment, 40% chance of rain from about 2 p.m. local time, so about 50 minutes into the race. Ho Phaedry says, what do you think about the new 2021 rule changes? Cautiously optimistic. If you mean the big rule changes, they've been pushed back to 22 because of COVID and the cost cutting. But there are actually some changes coming in 2021 to see they're going to remove some of the downforce and the cars are going to stay the same. So I'm quietly optimistic for 22. and I hope that they've nailed it. But I think next year is going to be more of the same. Hopefully closer, though, especially if there's a bit less downforce out there. So hopefully that'll be... I'll use my cliche line. When I've got my Go XLR set up, I'm just going to record these lines so I can just play them without saying them. But I don't care who wins the World Championship. It's how we get there. So I don't care if a Hamilton or a Verstappen or a Bottas wins every single championship over the next 10 years, so long as they are exciting fights and we get lots of action and we get to see, ideally, title deciders in the final race. So I'm just hope for a closer season next year. So we shall see. We shall see. But I'm quite optimistic for 22, although I'm not a little bit concerned by F1 kind of admitting that DRS is still going to be needed in 22, but it won't be as impactful. That still concerns me, but I think you've kind of got to leave it there, haven't you, as a backup in case they all fail. But I don't think the changes will fail too much. Should mix up the field a little bit, though. So Hamilton is second to be champion. Anthony Perry, that's a question. Where are my title permutations? I'll run through these quickly. I didn't put them on screen. That was stupid. So title permutations, basically if he finishes, he wins it. It feels like. So if he wins the race, he is champion whatever Bottas does. But if Hamilton finishes second, he will be champion if Bottas wins but doesn't take the point for fastest lap, because obviously 25 points for the win for Bottas, 18 for Hamilton second. That's a 7-point difference. So Hamilton would be champion because Bottas needs to score 8 or more points than Hamilton to keep it alive. So if Bottas wins and gets the fastest lap, the title fight goes on to Bahrain. Like I said earlier, prolonging the inevitable, really. But if Bottas wins and somebody else gets fastest lap, then Hamilton is champion. So pretty much, yeah, just needs second place. It's 8 points is what he needs to outscoring by Bottas does to keep that going. So, yeah. The ACBC says Lewis will retire when he wins his 10th championship. I wouldn't be surprised if he signed a 3-year deal, as the rumours are saying, or at least a 3-year deal is on the table. Yeah. He might do. He might get the 10, so we'll see. Let's see if these documents are updated yet. If not, we're probably going to wrap it up. So we've got provisional qualifying classification is out, which is going to download a PDF now. Thanks, F1. I said that like it was like proper first world problems there. Bloody PDF. Yeah. No. I don't know. Let's go back to the other screen, actually. Why not? Super quickly. So you're not looking at my desktop. Don't we see in my search history? It's not bad. It's just F1 this and F1 that, really. Yeah, nothing yet. So we're gonna have to wrap it up there, I think. But nothing yet on who the official doodle flips are that are under investigation. But I think it's a lot. It's probably long story short. Long story short, it's a lot of people under investigation. So what I will do, I have one more quick check on Twitter if anyone's tagged me in anything. Doesn't look like it's gonna just have a quick. Sorry if I really quite hate doing this because I know that I'm not really particularly entertaining anyway, but certainly not entertaining when I'm having to scroll through news articles. But I just want to double check if there's any news specifically. No. So if you are on Twitter, give me a follow and I will retweet some stuff and I'll put some stuff on there if I can. But as it stands, no, nothing at the moment official. I think it's basically pretty much everybody. If I'm being completely honest, I like I said, I'm hoping this isn't decided in the stewards' room. Yeah. Hoping. I'll tell you what I'll do super quickly then before I go. I'll go back to the watch on screen and I will smack this up as well so that you guys can have a look at the final result. You're going to see me edit live, which is absolutely wonderful. Let's put this up. Probably shouldn't do this because it's FOM's thing, but I think it's a press thing, so it's okay. Risking it with FOM, taking a risk, why not? So your results, super quickly before I go then. Lance Stroll, provisional pole position for tomorrow's Turkish Grand Prix. Max Verstappen second, Sergio Perez in third place. Alex Albon 4th, Daniel Ricciardo in 5th place, Lewis Hamilton 6th, Esteban Ocon 7th, Kimi Raikkonen 8th, Valtteri Bottas 9th, Antonio Giovinazzi 10th, Lando Norris 11th, Sebastian Vettel 12th, Carlos Sainz 13th, Charles Leclerc 14th, Pierre Gasly 15th, Magnussen 16th, Kvyat in 17th, Russell 18th, will start from the back of the grid, I assume anyway, depending on what happens with penalties, but he'll be at the back of the grid because of an engine penalty. Roman Grosjean and Nicholas Latifi both in the gravel at 19th and 20th for them. But like I said, we've got those pending steward investigations to worry about, but we will see. Max Verstappen, not happy is the phrase I'm going to use in his interview there with Sky. I believe the phrase began with a P. I don't know why I'm worrying about language given my reaction to Lance Stroll in pole position. But there you go. One last check of these documents. Nothing from FIA at the moment, so it might take a little while for them to come in. But we are going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for your company this afternoon. It's been a pleasure. It's been a long one, but we got through it together. It's great to sit and talk to you on these Saturday afternoons. I will be back tomorrow. Yes, with F1/E reviews is Dan. We'll be live about 1 p.m. UK time. I've been kind of trying to work it out. So I work it out 10 past 10, 2 hours for the race is 10 past 12, and then an hour for me to get set up. So around 1 p.m. UK time, depending on what happens in the race, of course. We'll do some reaction to the race and then content again next week. As well. So yeah, there's not really much else to say. If you do want to follow me on social media, links are in the description down below, and apparently there's an F1 Word Reddit which was set up by David the Fish, so Reddit/the F1 Word, if you want to go check that out. That's what I'm doing after this one, so feel free to go over there and have a waffle as well. Maybe one day I'll bring a Discord server back, who knows, one for everybody rather than just patrons. But we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.